language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
Tell the truth.
Okay, everybody, thank you for being here. This is the Information Man. This is a very special presentation. Once again, I'm having some technical problems with the share screen. There was something from Dr. King that I wanted you to actually see, the actual footage. I'm going to probably leave that alone right now because of the technical difficulty that it was putting me through. Peace to you. I think we got my man Finley Rivers in the house. Lions Den ADOS is in the house. Jay Dunn, Tasty Mafia's in the house. Brittany, thank you, Brittany, for being here. We've got my man, the male advice DIV in the house. We've got Reg in the house. A lot of good people. We got my man Joe in the house. Now, what I want to do right now, this is very important, everybody. Oftentimes when we celebrate or talk about Dr. King, we often focus on the I Have a Dream speech. We don't realize, if we do our history and do our research of history, that Dr. King had a radical side to him. And that's why I have on the thumbnail, my man, the one and only, as you've seen on there. I'm going to put it back on there again. And that is Dr. Cornel West. Dr. Cornel West, not too long ago, had a conversation on the Urban View. And what's special about the Urban View for me personally is that he was being interviewed by Wilma Leon. Now, what does that mean to me personally? Well, I'll tell you what it means to me personally. This is what it has to do with me personally as it relates to Dr. King. William Leon is a great radio host, an activist type of brother. But the four men, what I have in common with all these men, and Dr. King being at the top of that ladder, this being King Day, we know that his birthday was actually technically last week, but they observe it, they honor it on Monday, today, January 20th, 2020. He was being interviewed by one of my fraternity brothers, which is William Leon, who is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which was responsible for the March on Washington, because it was Alpha men who organized that walk. A lot of your history, I know people get into this whole thing about the Boule, but a lot of your history is laden with men of my fraternity who have led in this country. An Adam Clayton Powell, a Paul Robeson, a W.E. Du Bois. I could go on and on and on with some of the illustrious members of my organization that have done great things. Well, Dr. Cornel West is also a member of my fraternity as well. And he's out of Sacramento, where he was born, got his start, as well as the brother that's interviewing him. I'm going to play this interview and let you hear it for yourself firsthand. What I really want to see if I can do, and I've been having some problem, is I'm going to see one more time if I can get this. No, I don't have the video. So I have the audio that I'm going to play. But I'm going to play this audio. I backed everything up on audio. I'm going to play this audio of Dr. King, because all we tend to do in this society tends to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that is the dream speech. I have a dream, that one day in America, people will be judged by the content of their character and not their skin. And, blacks and whites will join hands, rainbow bright type stuff. But Dr. King, near the end of his life, was becoming very frustrated, becoming very angry. And there are some that said he began to become radicalized at one point in time, almost as if he was going over to Malcolm X, who was people deemed as radical, as Malcolm X started to mellow out when he went over to Mecca. And then he broke away from the Nation of Islam and created his own style of Islam. As Malcolm X started to change Dr. King was starting to change. And, you know, we've all heard the line that Dr. King felt that he put his people, put us black people in a burning house. What did I do with my people by putting them in this burning house? Because civil rights, in a lot of ways, as much as it has given us some improvements, some moves and some improvements in our life. A lot of us today, we don't have to march as we did then. We don't have to do certain things to have the right to live where we want to live, but we still deal with institutionalized racism in the education and work. And as Neely Fuller Jr. says, it's in all areas of activity, religion, politics, everything, labor, sex, everything. White supremacy or racism, as institutional as it is in this country, still remains a factor that impacts black people. Let me play this statement from Dr. King. Dr. King was a man who felt that black people, we needed to be made whole in the way that other groups have been made whole. White peasants, when white people came to this country as peasants or came over here to get away from the great bank of England, Britain, their central bank that was taxing them, they were given a reparation. They were given land grants. They were given set-asides. And here's a sound clip from Dr. King that I feel is the truth.
Tell the truth.
Here we go.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Tell the truth.
All right, as you can hear there, Dr. King said it very clearly. We're coming to get our check. I originally made a video out of that clip some time ago, but I had to play that. Dr. King, there's a lot of speeches that we've never heard that Dr. King has spoken that were considered very radical for the time. Did you know that there were even other preachers, other reverends who looked down on Dr. King, who didn't even want Dr. King to come to their town, come to their state, because they were they didn't like where Dr. King was going. Now, when Dr. King was only focusing on civil rights, and believe it or not, he was not seen as much of a danger. It was when he went into human rights and he began to say, we're going to campaign these corporations, the Pepsi-Colas of the world. That's when Dr. King became a threat to this society. And as a result of him changing public policy or being a threat to public policy, he had to go. And you know, that despicable J. Edgar Hoover, he said that I would not allow there to be a black messiah, which is why they had to assassinate Dr. King, then Malcolm X, and so many more of our sheroes and heroes who did great things for us. What I want to do, what's going on, Didi? Let me see. I said this exactly same thing on Gabs. So we got K Money's in the house. All things about Karen is in the house. I thank everybody for being here. We got Fly Birdie in the house. Didi's in the house. We got Maine, Evelyn, Mark. I hope I'm saying that correct. What I need you to do, folks, is definitely share this in your social media, because I definitely would appreciate that. Another thing, I'm letting everybody know that too. I got to give a shout out to people that are listening to me live on Periscope, live on Facebook right now. And those of you who don't have Periscope, but you got Twitter, that are listening to me live on my Twitter page, it's at Clinton06. at Clinton06. And of course, the YouTube channel is Information Man Show. And of course, I'm a podcaster, Information Man Speaks Podcast, which is my second YouTube channel. But you can hear me on all those platforms like SoundCloud, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. I am going to be dropping content on those type of platforms that will be a little bit different than the content here. There'll be some that's the same, but there'll be some other exclusive or what I call a material that I'm not going to have on the Information Man Show. So I thank you all for being here. What I may do is, you see the number at the bottom. Once I get through this presentation, if anyone wants to call in, I will open up the phone lines for anyone that wants to dialogue with me about these issues around Dr. King. I'm going to play you about a 20-minute interview with one Dr. Cornel West, who breaks down the radical activism of Dr. King that we have never heard before. Things that you probably did not know about Dr. King. This is an exclusive interview by my frat brother, Dr. Cornel West, and my frat brother, William Leon of Irvinview, who interviewed him. So I'm going to sit back, listen to it just like you all, and then I'll come back on with more presentation. I hope you all will stick around and listen to this. It's very, very important. This is Dr. Cornel West. So let's give him some love and respect. And here we go, folks.
Spend the next hour reading his vitae, but he's a man who really needs no introduction. There are very few folks in the world whose name encompasses who they are and what they're about. I can simply say he's an intellectual giant, professor, author, freedom fighter. He's a person who, when I was growing up in Sacramento, the community pointed to him as someone to emulate, a path to follow. He's a fraternity brother of mine, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He's honest, committed, loving, consistent, and a true friend. He is one of Clifton and Irene West's kids. Dr. Cornel West, Cornel, my brother, welcome back to Inside the Issues.
My brother, it's always a blessing to be in conversation with you. You're such a major force for good, and to be able to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. 91 years after he was born in Jim Crow Gut Bucket, Atlanta, Georgia, and his major contribution as part of a movement that the movement helped make Martin helped make the movement. And it's always important to keep that context in mind, that we're not talking about an isolated individual. We're talking about a crucial figure in a grand movement that comes from a great tradition of a people who have been terrorized for 400 years, but taught the world so much about how to love.
There are a lot of ways we can go with this, but I'm starting with the same question to all of my guests. I asked this to Ms. Ruby Sales before you. I'm going to ask this to my next guest after you. So I'm posing this to you. I was reading Dr. King's The World House, and there's a point wherein he talks about the story of Rip Van Winkle. And he says the one thing that we usually remember is that Rip slept 20 years. When he went up, the sign had a picture of King George III of England. When he came down 20 years later, the sign had a picture of George Washington. Rip was confused, flustered, and lost. He knew not who Washington was. The most striking thing about this story is not that Rip slept 20 years, but that he slept through a revolution that would alter the course of human history. And so I'm starting this conversation with the question, are we sleeping through the revolution? And you can define that any way you want to.
Yeah, Brother Martin had a rhetorical genius. He had a special way of trying to get us to wake up. And I think he was in part trying to say that too many people didn't have enough courage to wake up and make a revolution. They were too tied into the bonds of conformity and therefore were sleeping through a revolution. I think in our context, though, I would say that the version of sleeping through a revolution is being distracted. being lured to focus and attend to things that are on the surface. So if you spend so much time on corporate media, you're not going to be talking about poverty. You're not going to be talking about militarism or drones being dropped around the world, or wars that are taking place in U.S. government and the State Department and the Pentagon is helping facilitate those wars with providing them with military arms. You're not going to be talking about the materialism. You're not going to be talking about various forms of xenophobia, racism, and those four, of course: poverty, militarism, materialism, racism in various forms. Those were the four catastrophes that Brother Martin said was sucking the juices out of American democracy and rendering it stale and ending up with neo-fascists like Trump. So that my version of that would be the distractions. You see, we live in a culture of distractions. Everybody's trying to, people at the top are trying to keep folks distracted away from the things that really matter. And the things that matter are integrity, honesty, courage, empathy, generosity, and solidarity with people who are fighting for freedom.
You edited a volume, The Radical King, Martin Luther King Jr. The term radical in reference to Dr. King is contrary to the, it's not a term that's consistent with the dominant narrative of Dr. King. Dr. King's a dreamer, turn the other cheek, soft, some weak, you know the narrative. So why does he actually exemplify radical?
Because radical means, as you know, my brother, getting at the root of things. And when Martin Luther King Jr. at the end of his life said, "I am so very sad that people have never really known me, that they, in many ways, have sanitized me, they've sterilized me, they've deodorized me." I call it the Santa Claus of vacation of Martin Luther King Jr. You turn him into Santa Claus with a smile, got toys in a bag for everybody, so everybody feels good. Everybody's having a good time, like your own Main Street in Disneyland. Whereas Martin Luther King Jr. was viewed by the FBI as the most dangerous man in America. He was, J. Edgar Hoover said, we got to keep track of him every moment because he's a challenge to the powers that be. He's calling for a revolution that could overturn the priorities, the values, the power structure in our society. Well, you see, there it's very clear that if the powers that be view you as the fundamental threat, that's radical. That's dangerous. And that's not the Martin Luther King Jr. that most people will be celebrating on Monday. They want the sanitized Martin who had a dream that was calling for everybody to come together without noting the tremendous sacrifice, the tremendous cost that has to be borne for people who are willing to really love, to really fight for justice, to really be concerned for poor people and working people, to really be concerned about patriarchy and homophobia, transphobia, and most importantly for Martin, of course, the vicious legacy of white supremacy. The primary target of the movement early on was American apartheid. It was white supremacy in America, and especially in the South. And he always connected it to, of course, critiques of U.S. foreign policy in Vietnam, critiques of U.S. foreign policy in Latin America, concerns about indigenous people, concerns about poor white folk. But Martin Luther King Jr. went to jail over 30 times. And 95% of those times he went to jail for black people fighting against American apartheid.
Talk about him as an internationalist, because that is one of the, and his ability to connect the dots of struggle, whether you were on the continent of Africa, whether you were in Asia, of course, beyond Vietnam, Time to Break Silence. that's another element of his dynamics that just does not get articulated, is that he was an internationalist.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. You see, partly when Martin said that people never know me, that his fundamental calling was that of a Christian minister. And a Christian minister, he fundamentally believed that a baby in Vietnam had exactly the same value as a baby in New York. And that a baby in Guatemala had exactly the same value as a baby in Texas. And a baby in Ethiopia or Ghana had the same value as a baby in Kansas. So Jesus loved the little children of the world.
A baby in a cage coming across the U.S.-Mexican border that Donald Trump has relegated as some creature has as much relevance as Ivanka Trump and his children.
That's exactly right. And he learned that in Vacation Bible School. Jesus loves the little children, red, yellow, black, and white. They are precious. In his sight, a baby in Gaza has exactly the same value as a baby in Tel Aviv. Now, what that means then is that that is exactly what you say. It is a view that leads you to an internationalism, and therefore you end up with a critique of foreign policy, of U.S. foreign policy. And this is where Martin Luther King Jr. really got more dangerous than ever, because he became a critic of the American empire. And most of my fellow citizens don't even know that America is an empire. They don't know there's 4,800 military units under the U.S. government around the world. They don't know that we're involved right now in dropping bombs and drones on people around the world. They don't know about AFRICOM. They don't know about the special operations units in 128 countries in the name of the U.S. government. But Martin Luther King Jr., the end of his life especially, was zeroing in on those realities in light of the internationalism that you rightly note. And then when you connect that with trying to organize poor people across race, no matter what color, and region, and religion, kind of things that Brother William Barber's doing. I was just with Brother Barber in Iowa just day before yesterday at the debate, but they were marching outside the debate. They're going to have a magnificent gathering June 20th in 2020 to keep alive the poor people's campaign that Martin Luther King Jr. was bringing together when he died. Once you bring those two together, struggle against poverty, critique of capitalism, the internationalism, which is a critique of the American empire, then you get about as radical as you can get. And that's why I titled the text The Radical King, because it provides us with a king that most people are afraid of. And let us never forget, my brother, that when Martin was shot down like a dog on that porch in Memphis, Tennessee, April 4th, 1968, 72% of Americans disapproved of him, and over 50% of Black people disapproved of him. He'd been marginalized. He had been pushed to the fringes because he was too radical. Now, for some of the young people, he wasn't radical enough. Black Panther Party and SNCC and League of Revolutionary Black Workers and a number of other organizations said, look, Martin, we love you to death. You taught us so much, but you're not radical enough. Because, of course, they were willing to talk quite explicitly about violence as a strategy of changing society. Martin was never, ever one that would allow for violence as a strategy or tactic for social change. And so in that sense, you had a very important dialogue. We're talking about Jesse McDade, who wrote a wonderful dissertation on Fanon. Mm-hmm. And so you got those influenced by Franz Fanon, where violence certainly is a part of the struggle for freedom. And then you got Martin Luther King Jr., who really resonates with a lot of the fire of Fanon in terms of his hatred of domination and hatred of exploitation, but would not allow violence. So he had those young folk who were critical critical of him, even though they deeply loved him. Then you had the black middle class that loved the early Martin when they was talking about civil rights, but when he shifted to human rights and critiques of capitalism, critiques of elitism, critiques of imperialism, they said, oh no, he's gone too far. Then you had the white mainstream talking about Martin's a communist. You read the New York Times, the Washington Post, Life magazine, they say Martin is the voice of Hanoi when his critique of Vietnam was put forward, you see. So he didn't really have a lot of friends left. He had the great Harry Belafonte and a few others, but not too many friends at the end of his life, other than, of course, his most fundamental friend. Right. And that is the inimitable Coretta Scott King. In some ways, she's more radical than Martin. She was critical of Vietnam before he was, you know.
We are traditionally the idealists. We are the deep rumblings that we hear today. The rumbling of discontent is the thunder of disinherited masses rising from dungeons of oppression to the bright hills of freedom. All over the world, like a fever, freedom is spreading in the widest liberation movement in history. The great masses of people are determined to end the exploitation of our races and lands. And in one majestic chorus, they are singing in the words of our freedom song, ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. The collision course is set. The people cry for freedom, and the Congress attempts to legislate repression. Millions, yes, billions are appropriated for mass murder.
From dungeons of oppressions to the bright hills of freedom. And so the collision course is set. The people cry for freedom and the Congress attempts to legislate repression. And I submit to you tonight that a Congress that proves to be more anti-Negro than anti-rat needs to be dismissed. Did he deliver that yesterday? Was that
the brother Martin we love? That's the Martin we love.
Was that yesterday?
1967, after the rebellions of Newark, after the rebellions of Detroit, and so many others. In 2020, it is as relevant as can be. And keep in mind, he's speaking as also a democratic socialist. He's already come out and called himself a democratic socialist. He's already said that the Wall Street greed, that the greed of corporate elites, he's already said that white supremacy, anti-Negro, we would add anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim, anti-Mexican. And of course, he's always concerned about anti-Jewish as well, but he would also be critical of any anti-Palestinian policies here or around the world. That's the Martin Luther King Jr. that sets the highest standards of moral and spiritual content in a life and in a movement. And I tell you, we need him, my brother. And I just thank God that you're still keeping the radical king alive. Not that king that's been deodorized, but the radical king alive every year in an explicit way. You keep king alive every week and every day in a consistent way. But when it comes to talking about his birthday, you one of the few that have been keeping alive the radical king for decades, brother.
Well,
you are one of the best to come out of Sacramento, California. Wow. One of the top ones to come out of Sacramento. I tell you that, my brother.
Well, coming from the one who is the top, thank you. The one line in here of the many that grabs me and that I think goes over the heads of a lot of people is when he says, all over the world, like a fever, freedom is spreading in the widest liberation movement in history. Again, that's the internationalism. That's Dr. King speaking out against the coup in Venezuela. that Donald Trump continued, that came out of the Obama administration, that came out of the Bush administration before him. That's Dr. King talking about the opposition. Oh, by the way, and Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic chair of the House, said she was down with the Venezuelan coup. That's him speaking against in opposition to the coup in Bolivia. That's right. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren said she was down with.
That's true.
That's his speaking against Syria. That's his speaking against Barack Obama greenlighting the Saudis' invasion of Yemen.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I must say, thank God my dear brother Bernie Sanders did call that a coup in Bolivia. It has pushed the deal with Brother Ro Khan and trying to get the United States out of that vicious Saudi Arabian invasion occupation there in Yemen. And we know Brother Bernie is not perfect when it comes to critiques of empire, but he has been most vigilant when it comes to trying to be morally consistent in terms of U.S. foreign policy and keeping track of so many of those who have been dominated and sometimes downright murdered by U.S. bombs or drones. But see, Brother Martin, he because of his moral consistency, he was bound to get it. It's predicated on lies and crimes. And he hated lies, he hated crimes. He knew he was the imperfect being himself, so he hated certain elements inside of himself. But most importantly, his fundamental calling, I want to be a servant of the least of these. I want to enhance the plight of the wretched of the earth. I want to be a force for good, in the language of John Coltrane. And that's our brother Martin. And he still sets a very high standard alongside Fannie Lou Hamer, alongside Ella Baker, alongside, Edward Said and Rabbi Abraham, Joshua Heschel, Dorothy Day. He's always to be put in a context where he's in solidarity, in relation with other great freedom fighters. But I know I have to spend my own life, and that's why when that book that you talked about, Radical King, that's the most important book I've ever done, brother. If I dropped off the edge of the earth the minute after that book was published, I know the Lord had used a cracked vessel like me, because Martin, in my own life, was the catalyst. That when he died, I had just almost hit Kennedy High School in a race against Sakai. And I decided at that moment that I was going to keep alive the legacy and the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. until the worms got my body. And when that book came out, I said, I tried to be true to that particular calling, true to that particular vocation. And I intended to be faithful unto death. And it's very much because of Brother Mark. Now, again, I don't fetishize him. We don't fetishize individuals. Now, we come close to fetishizing our mamas. We ascribe magical powers to them, but they're human too. But when it comes to any individual, it's Brother Martin in my life, though. Ain't no doubt about it.
Get a knife and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood.
That's right. Don't let
Be
nobody take your
proud
manhood.
of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
That's right. Black and beautiful. Let me address a few issues.
Is power.
Tell the truth.
Let me address a few issues, everybody. There's a brother in the chat room who has lost his mother. Let me see, brother Boots, ADOS, Boots on Ground. Everybody in the chat room, I know you've been doing it already. Give that brother some love, some encouragement. He lost his mother. I feel for you, brother. I'm sorry that had happened. I don't know what I can do. When you lose someone close to you, like a mother or any family member, there really is no words that one can say to make it all change. I think you have to remember something, brother. I did a speech about this, or I did a live stream about this. Your mother is not actually, now bear with me, I don't want you to think I'm crazy. Your mother is not really dead, brother, or gone. Your mother's DNA is in you. Life is circular, not linear. Everything that your mother taught you when she raised you, everything that you are, whether it be your father or mother who raised you, the essence and the spirit of your mother is in you, and her DNA is in you. So therefore, her DNA, her spirit, and her biological makeup is in you. If you have children, I don't know if you're a father, your kids are a common copy of you. So your life extends itself in a circular formation. This is African spirituality. This is not only that, this is cosmology. Life is a circular, not linear. In European culture, we're taught that you live, you die. Actually, no. Our sense of what living is, being in this body that we are in, is a limited perspective, because life goes beyond this body that we're in. If you look at nature, everything in nature recycles itself and comes. And I'm not talking about reincarnation, because we can't come back as black people, as humans, as an animal, because animals do not vibrate at a higher spirit or energy level that we as humans do. Everything has a vibration in the universe. Your mother is dark matter. She left, she went back to the dark matter which black people come from. This is universal. This is universal God. So although we could never say any words to make you feel better, because it's a loss, in a sense that we've been conditioned to understand what death is and what a loss is in this earthly realm that we're in. But if you take yourself out of this earthly realm and look at it on a spiritual level, you embody your mother. So everything that is with you comes from your mother, your father, and you're living you're a living example of your mother through the DNA and through your actions. So your mother actually, in a metaphysical way, in a spiritual way, in a mental way, is not gone. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, brother. I mean, no disrespect to you, but we have been culturally conditioned in this society to look at this whole issue of you live, you die, and not to understand the real circle formation and realm of life. Living in American society, These are concepts that we buy into because we are focused on the fact that we don't have the physical person anymore. And sometimes we forget that their spirit is with us. They are with us always. The ancestors are with us. Everything that we do is with us. That's my philosophy. No disrespect to you, because I know that you, like you said, you're going through a lot of pain right now. Just as people felt the same way when Dr. King was assassinated. And guess what? We are still resonating and pushing his spirit, his energy today. So I just wanted to say that to you and to everybody out there that's listening on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and I'm also broadcasting live on Spreaker Live, which is one of the podcasting platforms I use, and I can broadcast live there. So I just wanted to say that I had to give you some words of encouragement and words of something positive to say to you. So I want to address an issue. I know that Cornel West is a figure who tends to speak about everybody being his brother and sister. I get that. And I know that realistically, black people today, let's be honest, we've got no friends. A lot of groups out here, different groups, when we're catching hell, and I've said this before, a lot of these other groups are not really having our back. We got to have our own back. I think black people need to prioritize ourselves for once and for all. I think I'm not personally think that black people can afford to get into the rainbow bright right now, because we have never been able to really be ourselves and really focus on ourselves and be on code. A lot of people will tell us that we should unite with other groups of people, but other groups of people are not always having our backs. And I just have to be completely honest about that. Not everybody's got our back, our best interest. We have to have our best interests. American descendants of slavery, ADOS. I know what it's about. I know it's about reparations. It's about us having a lineage. I know it's about us identifying ourselves. Other people come to this country and they identify themselves. Someone that comes from Europe, they will say, I'm German American. I'm French American. Someone from the Caribbean, they'll say, I'm Jamaican American. They will identify with their particular culture, just as everyone else does. If the people who, brothers and sisters that come from the continent of Africa, they're going to say, I'm Nigerian. Okay. And I know that race, let's be honest about it, race is a social construct that was used to keep us in a box. Most people identify with a tribe, a culture, an ideology, a custom. And black people, we have our own set of customs and our own set of history in this country. Let me bring something else to your attention. I was listening to a sister by the name of Shirley Hassan last night. I tried to get on her show. I was in her backstage of her show. She was going in about this whole thing. In Arizona, and I think in New Hampshire, they want to change the name from it being Dr. King's Day to being a Civil Rights Day. And what I noticed today in today's society is that they're trying to whitewash or trying to erase history. They want to change history and say, well, people didn't come over here as slaves. We were just workers. They're trying to change the language because they want to whitewash the history so that our kids will think that slavery was some vacation for our people. I know there are those who say we are original, Aborigine. We're originally here. Look, I've said this before, that black people are from all over the whole damn planet. Now, what I want to play for you, we're from the whole planet. Anywhere you do digs, you're going to find black bones, because black people are universal people on this planet. Dark matter, as I said before. Let me play this other audio clip of Dr. King, because I think this is another example of how radical Dr. King was for his time. You got to put everything in time perspective. What we think is not radical today was considered radical then, which is why they had to assassinate Dr. King. Now, listen to this clip right here and what he was saying. Check this out.
What is it about the Negro? I mean, every other group that came as an immigrant somehow, not easily, but somehow got around it. Is it just the fact that Negroes are black?
white America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma. America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, and as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Bootless
and many
man.
Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
That is 100% correct what
Tell the
Dr.
truth.
King said. I had to play that because I think it's a very important, telling aspect of Dr. King. I'm going to follow that up with this sound clip once more that is very dear to my heart personally. Dr. King.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Tell the truth.
That's right. We're coming to get our check. What I'm going to do right now, I played the Dr. Cornel West. Now, I'm going to say it again if I didn't. I know Cornel West, once again, he does talk a lot about unifying with other people. And I get that a lot of us, we're not feeling that. Okay. And you got to look at Cornel West by his generation, the generation he comes from, why he talks that way. Everybody has the right to their own thoughts, their own opinions. Everybody's got an opinion, but not everyone is entitled to their own facts. You can have an opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And I think right now, currently, maybe at one point in time, Cornel West's philosophy about being this unified rainbow, maybe it had a possibility one time ago, but I don't think it is effective for us today, because black people, before you can unite with other people, you got to unite with yourself, and you've got to be very clear about your goals and your objectives. Black people have to be about their goals and their objectives. I remember when the Black Panther Party was started in Oakland, California. I think there was you had white folks that were quote unquote radicals or protesting out there in the Berkeley, the Bay Area. and they wanted to become a part of the Panther Party. And I think, remember, the Panther Party told them, well, if you are down with what we're doing, go and form your own groups of white people that are against slavery and all these different things. Go form your own groups. You know what I've always wondered to everybody, and this is going to be controversial. Why is it that you never see white people create organizations where it's white people, where you see them marching by the millions and the thousands, saying that they're against racism and oppression of people, particularly black people in this country? Why don't you ever see them? You know, because you have groups of people that say they're against racism, but yet you never see them create the groups. It's always black people who have to create organizations and groups to protect ourselves, to fight for our rights. You've had a sprinkle of different people that got involved in civil rights. I know certainly there were Jewish people that were involved in civil rights at some point in time. There have been other groups that have kind of like helped, that marched and what have you, but you never see them in a full drove the way black people are. That to me personally tells me everything I need to know. Now, I must say this too. Katrina, we should have learned how America felt about us during Katrina, when black folks in New Orleans, Louisiana, were left for dead for a whole damn near 2 weeks without water and food. And when you had black people trying to get out of New Orleans into other parts of Louisiana, you had folks with guns, white folks with guns, trying to keep them from getting into their counties or their parishes. And you saw how Bush at that time didn't come down to the ground to talk to the people. They treated black people. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, they called black people on national television news. They called us refugees. Refugees are people who don't have a country, don't have a language, a land, and a place to go. Black people already had a place that we were. And they called us refugees. Y'all, how many of y'all forgot that? And then before Kanye West lost his damn mind with all this black people wanted to be slaves crap, remember, it was Kanye West that said that George Bush doesn't like black people. And then after he said that, he apologized for those statements about a year or two ago. Shows you how insincere he is to the movement of justice and equality and freedom of black people nowadays. And I must be honest about that. So what I want to do, and I want to just say that, everybody's got their opinions about Dr. King. Some people feel that he was too much of a pacifist, that maybe black people shouldn't have been marching out there when they were putting the dogs on us and all of that and the hosing on our ancestors. Everyone has a different opinion. There's some that like some of the things that Dr. King did. There's some that will criticize, say, oh, he shouldn't have did this. There's some of us who may believe that maybe black people would be better if we were still in segregation, because once we desegregated into schools, it allowed people who did not like us to educate our kids and miseducate our children. Education dropped to the bottom for black children. That's when you start having the special ed. You start having the black kids being deemed as criminals in the school system, to the prison pipeline system. The minute we didn't have the loving nurturing of our black teachers, male or female, because when we were segregated, you had to rely on black doctors, black storekeepers, black everything, black locksmith, everything. Black people had to rely on themselves. I think segregation made us self-reliant. I think with integration, it has made us passive because we feel comfortable now. We feel comfortable that, oh, I can live anywhere I want to live. I can live in this neighborhood. I can have white neighbors. I can have any type of neighbors, and everything is fine and dandy. You have black athletes who don't live in our communities anymore. They live in, rich, affluent communities, oftentimes white communities, when at one time black athletes and entertainers, they could not live in those neighborhoods. They had to live in black neighborhoods. When you look at a place like Baldwin Hills in Los Angeles, California, that was once a white neighborhood, and as black people of influence moved in, of course, you have white flight. When you look at South Central LA, how many of you out there, you good folks in the chat room, realize that South Central LA at one point in time was an all white immigrant European community. When black people moved there, this is how gangs got started. When black people start moving from the South into the West Coast, particularly in Los Angeles, It was white gangs. You had white gangs in South Central way before there were black gangs. And the white gangs were picking on the black people when we were in those schools, in the Crenshaw area, all those areas. And you had white gangs that had jackets with pictures of black men hanging in the back. Oh, yeah. And black people had to form their own gangs, or black men, because they were being picked on by the white gangs in these neighborhoods, these immigrated neighborhoods. These folks came from other parts of the world. And black people were being terrorized. And one of the first gangs that was formed to protect black men, black people, was a group called the Celestines. They were pre-Crips, pre-Bloods. And the gang structure was designed to protect the community, not to terrorize the community. And later on, as you know, through history, things changed. I'm saying this to say that we do not have any friends, technically. And I wonder what Dr. King would say today if he was to come back today and see all the progress that we have made in certain areas that he fought for, but how, as much as we've made certain progress, we still remain backwards in so many things. Black people in this country, we still do not have the generational wealth and certain economic freedom and businesses that we once had under segregation. Now, there's some people that will say segregation was not good for black people. There's some that will say, well, this is why it was good. But with all our integration, I still wonder why black people economically are not as excelling overall as we should. Now, we do have some black people that are rich, that are successful. There are about 10 well-off-to-do, rich black communities in this country. Most of them are in Maryland. 2 of them are in Los Angeles. So there are black people that are doing well, but there are still black communities that are lower on the social economic ladder that are being hit hard. And so I don't think personally that Dr. King's dream, as it speaks to us, black people, I don't think that it still has been fulfilled. I think we still got a long way to go. And I think we need to come for that check, in my opinion. So I'm going to open up the floor. If you got anybody wants to call in and have a conversation with me about this issue, I'm calling up. That's the number. You can see it on the screen there. Call-in number is 605-313-5658. And the code is 571128. You can see it on the screen. If anybody would like to call in, you're more than welcome. Let's have a conversation before I come to a conclusion with this live stream. We got Chi-Town in the house, SYSB, Black Men Save Yourself. What's up? Same here in Chicago. We got ADOS, Boots on the Ground in the house. We got Nash. We got Ark, Katakia, Lewis. I can't make that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight your name and say peace to you. Brenda Johnson's in the house. Let me see. Anybody that wants to call in, you can see the number on the screen there, and there's a code number. It's a conference call, so I can have more than one person on the call at the same time talking about these various issues. Peace to you. I can't pronounce your name that well, so I send a peace to you. We got Black Bruce Wayne in the house. We got Cat PY2. Okay, so I'm checking the anybody that wants to call in and have any words you want to say about Dr. King, where we're going right now, what we need to improve on. Are we living up to Dr. King's legacy? Was segregation, desegregation the wrong thing, the right thing? What are your thoughts? Call on in 605-313-5658. The access code is 571128. Come on, call in. I would definitely love to get someone to call in so we can continue this, keep this discussion going. All right, who's there? Who do I have there on the line?
This is Kevin, man.
Hey, what's going on? All right, brother. I'm glad to have you here. What are your thoughts today?
ADOS, Boots on the Ground.
Okay, brother, cool. This is what I want y'all to do, because I got about sound like I got 3 people on the line. Make sure you turn down any of your devices because it's giving feedback and it's making it hard for me to hear you. Okay. So we got my man, Boots on the Ground. I want to say something to you first, brother. I hope you heard what I said not too long ago. Once again, my heart goes out to you. But what are your thoughts, brother? I know that you had some things to say about Cornel West, and I get that. I'm not personally into the rainbow bright type stuff. I think black people, we need to focus on ourselves right now. And I think that's what's got everybody scared, because we are now focusing on ourselves. What are your thoughts? And and I want everybody to get a chance to speak, whoever I have on the line. But go ahead, Boots on the Ground, ADOS.
How recent was that?
How recent was the conversation that was recorded?
Yeah.
Let me see, Saturday, just this past Saturday.
Okay, so he went to this conference, the ADOS conference. He know what program we on.
Okay.
Why he's still on 1916 stuff? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I don't know if you heard what I said.
I
don't know if you heard what I said earlier too, brother. And I don't want to make excuses for Cornel West, but you got to realize that you got to look at people. They are what they are. When he comes from a different generation than maybe me and you, he's still on that type of philosophy because that's the generation he comes from. And you got to give it. And then keep this in mind, not to cut you off. Keep this in mind. He's a professor of theology. So he's coming from that Christian religious base where you forgive everybody. You look at everybody as your brother and sister. So he's got a religious theology that goes into the way that he speaks or he thinks. So we got to keep that in mind. And most people who come from that background, they tend to be into the forgiving and we got to work with different people philosophy, because that's how the Bible sort of frames thoughts when we read it about this whole collective sort of thing. Go ahead, brother.
Why even come deal with the people that's on a level that you ain't on? You see what I'm saying? If you think this way and you know they fighting for that, I'm not even go. You know what I mean? Deal with that.
No, I get what you're saying.
What you can't be nosy. That's what you just came to be nosy on. Oh yeah, I like what y'all talking about, but I'm not going to preach no more about it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I get. Look. Don't get me wrong. I know that he was at the ADOS conference, and he has spoken. He's been very outspoken about ADOS in a positive way. But this is nothing new. Cornel West has always been into this whole thing about this is my brother and sister, my Jewish brothers and sisters, my white brothers and sisters. That's that. I'm just keeping 100% real with you. That's that religious theology type talk. That's where that comes from. Black people, let's be honest. Black people have been conditioned culturally, and this is no disrespect to anybody that's Christian or religion, but the truth of the matter is we have been culturally conditioned by religion more than anyone else.
That was our counseling after slavery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't give us no therapy. No therapy. They go to a Bible. They go to a Bible for y'all, though. Y'all don't think about hurting us.
Right. The Bible. Passionate. Right. The Bible was given to black people. The Bible was given. Let me just.
Your grandma.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one thing in addition to the Bible, in Christianity in general, even though it was passed upon, the slaves or former slaves,
right,
it still didn't hold much value because there's still a separation. You could be the most devout Christian, the most devout Catholic, most devout religious person in the world.
Right.
You're still a nigga. You still
no,
separated.
but we're not talking about that, brother. We're talking about the passion that it gave to our people, like Cornel West.
You understand that? But what I'm saying is the passion had to be limited because you couldn't follow through on everything that the Bible was teaching you at that time. Because you couldn't go where you weren't. It's like, it says all men were created. That wasn't reality back then.
But guess what? You couldn't go there, right? Oh, well, I ain't gonna raise no hell because God said I ain't gonna just stand here and stand up like a man. You see what I'm saying? I ain't gonna fight. I'm gonna just go on and head on up out of here. They said we ain't welcome, y'all. Forget that. We going anyway. What's happening? Y'all want smoke?
Let me
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me say something, brothers. I get where you're coming from. Look, we know that the church was the place where black people could lay their hair down and be themselves. We know that historically, when black people worked as maids and butlers in the big house or for white people, it was the church that allowed black people to lay their hair down and be themselves. But let's not get this twisted now. As much as I said what I said about religion has played a role. Let me finish, brother. Let me finish. I'm going to finish what I'm saying here. I know you grew. I'm going to come to you, but I had to bring the volume down because I got to say what I got to say. It was the black church is where the first activism started for black people. Come on now. Let's take it back to Nat Turner. It was the black church that was where the first activism started. Now, it was the Bible that they used to pacify us, to tell us that it was meant for us to be a slave, that everything that was happening to us was because we were cursed. We were the line of Ham or what have you. That's all I wanted to say, brothers. I'm going to bring the volumes back up for you. Thank you. Go right ahead.
I'm from Oakland, California.
All right,
California, right?
Cool. I lived in Oakland.
Right?
Yeah, brother. Go ahead.
I grew up in a Christian house.
Okay.
I wish I'd have grew up in a Huey. I'm supposed to grow up in a Huey P. Newton house.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
sir.
I grew up under that passion. Oh, we go pray. We just go pray the light off. We go pray. You know what I'm saying? I wish I'd have grew up in a Huey house, but my grandmother and them, they kept us away from that. Huey wasn't even talked about in my house. I didn't know about Huey till I left home.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So that's why it hit me different. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I'm from Oakland. I'm supposed to grow up with the movement.
Right. And
my mama, none of them, brother.
And you
none of them. Nobody.
Can you agree with me or not? I lived in Oakland too, brother. Oakland has so many churches, like a lot of urban settings where you got a church and a liquor store, a church. With all those churches, you would think that the church would be leading its flock. Now, I got to be honest with that. How can you have so many churches but have so many of those issues that we deal with in a place like Oakland?
Because all them church money, they get money from the community. That's what they was doing in them churches. Get money, put something in that collection plate. I can show you the biggest church in Oakland right now. The biggest. They got a whole 2 blocks.
Oh, I know. That's what's that? Island Temple. That's right, Island Temple.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you're right about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know about it. Money, hustle. It's always a hustle.
So let me ask you this question then, brother. You know that Dr. King, he came from a pretty middle-class, well-off family. His father was a well-known preacher. Dr. King could have made a lot of money. He could have went on with his education, made money, went corporate, the whole 9 yards. He could have stayed in his daddy's church and been safe. What do you think about the fact that he sacrificed all those things that he could have had? He didn't die a rich man.
Absolutely.
And he definitely wasn't running around demanding for money like somebody like TJ Jakes, who sleeps on money, floats on money. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
You know,
who else do we have on the line? Who else hasn't spoken? Who's on the line? Okay, so you're the only one right now. So, look, brother, go ahead.
I wanted to touch on the situation with my mom.
Go right ahead. You have every right to do that, brother. Thank you.
With reparations hit me so personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the war on drugs, crack was pushed to my community, right?
Right.
My mama fell up under that crack. You see what I'm saying? Under this Ronald Reagan, all that stuff, right?
Right.
In the 80s. My mama was in that. I ain't had no mama. My grandmother raised me. So it hit me different when we talk fighting for these reparations. Yeah, Ronald Reagan owed me a check personally. He just killed my mama.
Right, because it was Ronald Reagan with Oliver North doing that whole Contra battle that they were having in South America.
Hotel
they were bringing, They were bringing drugs into America. Remember, Maxine Waters had that guy that was the who was he? He was a CIA director. They went into South Central LA, and he admitted that the CIA helped to pipeline drugs into the black community. Even Freeway Ricky Ross said that he got his drugs from the CIA. And you had that Oliver North running around, who should still be in prison today, acts like he's an American hero. All of them were involved. And then let's go back to Frank Lucas. You all saw American Gangster. He was bringing drugs in, the heroin in New York through the military when they were bringing back GIs or those that passed away. So you're absolutely right, brother.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
It's very personal with me with these reparations. I never had a mama, dad. I ain't never even met my dad. The streets raised me. I left home when I was 9 to go sell drugs, to raise myself, not to hurt the community, but I was poor. It was 10, 12 of us in my grandmother's house. Everybody's out there, you know what I mean?
Right. What year?
I'm gone.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, because I want to see what era you come from, because I go back to the early 80s. I'm 50 years old. I go back to the early 80s. I remember when the crack epidemic was impacting Oakland, San Francisco. I mean, I come from brother. I'm come from the Fillmore myself, and you got Hunters Point, Bayview, Hunters Point. You got Potrero Hill. I knew I was living there when all that stuff was popping off. Army Street projects, the whole 9 yards. What era? When were you born?
I was born in 79.
Oh shit! Then well, okay. I got some years on you, but yeah. That definitely you grew up seeing some of the tragedy. Right. I know all about you probably remember Felix Mitchell.
I know all about
Felix Mitchell. Yeah, he was one of the biggest drug dealers in Oakland at that time. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
I know about not having no mama because of crack. My mama just died young, man, 50-something. She wasn't supposed to die that young, man. That's why, man, reparations, man. Man, it's so personal with me, man.
I hear you. What do you think? You've heard the track that I played a few times. Dr. King was speaking upon other groups that were given reparations, even the white indigent servants that were here. Poor peasants that came from Europe were given land grants. You've heard him say that. He talked about the check. What is your thoughts about that? It's funny how when we speak about these things as a people, everybody tells us to shut up and everyone's criticizing. I find it interesting. What are your thoughts?
I say, man, everybody had a head start but us. They want to tell us, it's trailer parks. They're poor. They had a 400-year head start. Ain't my fault they messed the money up. Want to go chase meth. Messed their inheritance up. We never got no inheritance. We never got no land left nothing. Y'all got land on top of land. Left. Still living off of it today.
Wow.
I don't want to hear it. Nobody been through what Black Americans been through in America. Period. And they know that. And that's why they want us to be quiet, but we're not.
What is your opinion about what's happening with ADOS right now? You know, there's a lot of stuff going on YouTube, a lot of, some back and forth. With Tariq chasing Black, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Because we talking about money for everybody. Ain't no individuality going on. That's why. Okay, so then what would you say, brother? And thank you again for being with me. What would you say to people that would say people who keep this sort of drama going is because part of the hustle is that if Black people were to get reparations, we would get what we're supposed to get, and we would become liberated, and we were to grow, then it would take away the hustle. You know how you have people that use race and use these issues as a part of their hustle to make money off of it, right? So if Black people are made whole and we're doing well, there wouldn't be any need for us to keep making documentaries
that we sell to black people, to tell black people what's wrong with us, to tell black people what has happened to us. What are your thoughts about that? Because, you know, there's people who eat off of this type of stuff, keeping black people focused on those areas instead of focused on maybe economic areas. And you can't have that. You got to have power. You got to have economic power, and you do got to have political power. And that's what other people have that we lack. What are your thoughts?
What it is they don't got no faith in reparations, and they bills do.
Okay.
You hear me? They got bills due. ADOS didn't stop a lot of people from making a lot of money. Like, I don't know how the boy Tariq just made that 100-some thousand. He wasn't supposed to make that, but you know, people, you know, they go listen, they go be, you know, dummies, I guess. But that's what it is. They ain't got no faith.
No
they ain't
faith.
got no faith. Period. In reparations. They got faith in scamming black Americans like they've been doing. That's what's working for them.
I just asked that.
Y'all trying to stop what I'm doing.
I just asked that question. I just asked that question because when you look at it as a cottage industry, you know, Tariq is making a good amount of money off the hidden, you know, hidden colors. Jason Black is making his money off of his stuff. And so you have a lot of you have people. This is the theory that people have, that there's people out there who may not really want to see black people get what we deserve, because it's going to hurt their pockets. As you were saying, it's going to hurt their bottom line. And this is my thing. We can complain about the things that are happening to us, brother. We know what the history is, as Dr. King laid out on the audio clip that I played. We know what's happening to us in this society, what has happened to us historically, but we need to be solution-based. We need to be organized and solution-based to what we need. And that's why I think, for whatever criticism people have about ADOS, the one thing that is important about it is that we have to have black people unified under a philosophy. If you look at other groups, they align themselves around a philosophy, no matter what their politics is, no matter what their religion is. And the reason why I know this, because we both being from the Bay Area, I grew up in San Francisco too, and that's an international city. And I used to see other Russians.
Hey, this is Brother Mike.
What's going on? I'm gonna come right to you in a minute, Brother Mike. Just hang on. You got Russians. You got French. San Francisco got every race of people in that town. And what I noticed about them when I was in school and college and everything, brother, is that no matter what their politics is, they always unite under one accord of something. The problem with black people, we separate ourselves by religion, politics, philosophy, how we're going to go about. And that is our downfall, which is why I think there is a downfall to all this fighting, backbiting on the social media between all these different groups. I got to be honest with you. We have to learn from the past and how organizations were infiltrated when people are backbiting on each other, because everybody wants to be king of the mountain. I'll just leave it right there. We got another caller on the line. I want to give him a chance to come in. Who do we got on the line who just called in?
Hey, this is Brother Super Mike. What's going on, everybody?
Super Mike, thank you for being here, brother. What are your thoughts? I don't know how much of the presentation you've heard me play today. I played a few clips of Dr. King. I played a speech that recently Dr. Cornel West spoke upon, and brother ADOS Boots on the Ground says the only thing he doesn't like about Cornel West is that he continues to talk this rainbow type stuff. And we know that him being a religious man, that's how religious people sort of speak in that type of term to a certain degree. But what are your thoughts, brother?
Well, first of all, I'm just so like I said, I love your show, brother. Really do. Love what you're doing. And I love that you represent this area, this West Coast area. I am from like Detroit area.
Right on.
And so we have a different take.
Okay.
And like I said, like the brother said, and like y'all was saying, like the crack era, it hit, we knew, if you was listening to black folks at that time, we knew something was wrong with that, because we didn't own no planes and no boats to bring in crack and cocaine. And, you know, it was basically hit from coast to coast at the same time. We knew something was wrong with that, right? You know, the same drugs that's in California is in New York, is in Florida, and it's just so organized, you know. So we knew something. Yeah,
ghetto. That's right.
So we knew something was wrong with that. Now, as far as the what I want us to do is we ain't gonna make this. We ain't gonna make this happen unless we understand that different people is at different levels of this game of understanding, right?
Right.
And we're gonna have to be patient with some people because they're gonna get into it. They're gonna start arguing. That shows energy. You know, it just shows energy about the topic because you're gonna have differences. That's what Democrats and Republicans are, but they're just organized arguing.
Right.
Remember when Barack Obama was talking about how, oh, this experiment of you know, American democracy, arguing. You know, this is just organized arguing. If you ever look at the British House of Commons when they're doing their governmental business?
I've had a chance to see how they talk, how they go about using the different procedures, you know, talking and go ahead.
Yeah,
brother.
they have probably like, you know, they probably have like 30 different parties. They argue and they kind of make fun of each other. You ever hear some of it's kind of interesting, but this is how they run their government. That's how they run their government. So the point is, we haven't been taught this. We're learning this stuff on the fly, the hard way. Nobody's showing us this. Okay, so we're millions of people. We're trying to organize a system, and at the same time, we got a knowledgeable, I guess, as part of the government who is trying to sabotage us with little games, right?
Right.
Sending in stool pigeons and sabotagers and all these little tricks and stuff that we got going on that to try to confuse and make the people give up and get frustrated with each other. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting frustrated with each other. We can't tell what's real, what's not. So that it's going to take us. Go ahead.
I think some, not all of us.
Right.
Well, some of it, you're right. This generation is different because, like I said, we at least have we know more than what like, for example, in the 60s, you know, it was a time when people couldn't even imagine that the government would be paying attention to black folks and they were sitting around having meetings about us and what they was going to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody would laugh at you. Mm-hmm.
And now they writing ADOS and CBS.
Mm.
Exactly. So now we know that they are thinking about us. We know that they intentionally want to sabotage our movement, and we know why they want it. So that is a win. See, it's the information is what's going to protect us.
Right.
Information.
So we can't.
This my son calling me, y'all. I'll call y'all right back.
Okay, no problem.
Yes,
let me just
ahead,
let me acknowledge a few people in the chat room. We got my man Prophet of Thought series. Make sure y'all check out his channel. He comes on Wednesdays and Thursdays at night. He does a lot of great stuff over there. Has a lot of philosophical debates with brothers over there. Brenda Johnson, good to see you here, sister. Always, Lady M, great to see you. Everybody that's come, Sister Patience, thank you for being here. Everybody that's come into the chat room, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. But I just want to acknowledge a few people that's in there. We got Skies Took My Drone. Welcome here. Finley Rivers is in the house still. We got my man Ramon. Hey, forever. Hey, brother, I still got to get you up here. We're going to have a telephone interview very soon. Thank you for being here. Everybody that's come in, I know people are coming in and out of the chat, you know, because it's a day that people chill with their family. But I thank you all for being here. This has been a great discussion today. Let me say peace to people that are listening to me right now live on Facebook. Let me say peace to everybody that's listening to me on Periscope and people that are not actually on Periscope, but are listening to me on my Twitter, which is at Clinton06, at Clinton06. Thank you. And then let me thank any and everybody out there who may be listening to me on Spreaker Live right now. So we're on a lot of different platforms. This is a good, interesting discussion. Brother, let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
You heard I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the audio where Dr. King, or the video where Dr. King is talking about what has happened to black people and how white people were treated when they came out of being indentured servants and getting checks.
Yep.
And you've heard him saying, we're going to get our check. What is your thoughts about what Dr. King said? And I have to ask this question because, have we fulfilled the dream, Dr. King's dream, truly? Because I notice every year they do tend to focus on that particular speech because it's seen as his most famous speech. But there are many other speeches that he gave that were a little bit more what we would call radical for that time.
Exactly.
Go ahead, brother. You take it. You take it from there.
Yeah, the way I feel about that is we know what part of Dr. King they want us to focus on, because that's the part that they push to us. See, and how it's interesting how, like, when someone can control your image, and I think we're just now starting to realize how important that is. When you allow somebody to control your image, once you are gone from this earth, or once our people are gone from this earth, when somebody can control the image of how that person is presented, they can control a lot of the people.
Right.
They can control the people because, especially for a great person, a lot of people paid attention to them. And so that's what they do. They want us to be passive, integrative, just kind of forget about what happened and just, integrate, try to be equal, keep pressing. And so we have millions and millions of us that have really energetically, committed to the political, 100% committed to the political process. We committed to, elected officials. We committed to, integration, in household. We committed to, just equality at work, just all of the, just the ticker tape things that they tell us this is what's going to work, right? And we got all the way to Barack Obama. So we integrated, we fought tooth and nail to get everything we wanted with equality. And we got to Barack Obama and we're still not satisfied. So now after that, you got a generation who wants to find a radical Dr. King.
Right.
And that cut the check. That cut the check speech that people now, that is becoming popular. It's been around for all this time, but people didn't want to pay attention to that.
Let me
people knew about that.
Right. For the purpose of the program, let me play the small clip right now for people who are coming in the chat room who may have never heard this clip, don't know what the hell we're talking about. Right. Let's play it one more time.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign,
is power.
We are coming to get our check.
Information is power.
As you can hear there, brother, he says we're coming to get our check. What I want to do.
That's why we
go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was just saying that's why we cannot abandon that. That's in our DNA. To me, it's just we don't have a choice. We can't move on until we take care of this particular part of history because it keeps bubbling up in our community. It keeps bubbling up. It came up with Marcus Garvey. They put him down. It came up with other people with the Freedom Riders, and then the Martin Luther King thing, and then they put him down and violently put him down. It's coming up again. You see, it doesn't matter. See, this is an idea that they can't kill. It's in our DNA. We have to take care of this. You see, so to the people who think that we can just move on and forget about it. No, we can't do it. This is in our DNA. It keeps coming up. It's just being represented by different people through different periods of time. But it keeps coming back stronger and stronger because our numbers keep growing. So we got to take care of this business. So this is why we cannot get frustrated in all of these type of things just because we see people arguing and debating. That's natural. You know what I mean? Just with the ADOS thing, with the FBA, all of that. I mean, we need to get used to making money. Like, money is going to be accessible to us now, and we're going to have to learn how to deal with that. That's going to be probably a bigger trial than us being broke. To us, it's probably easier being broke than having money.
Right.
Lots of us, I should say.
Right.
So we're going to have to deal with having money.
Well, I was saying to the brother that was on earlier, because I know he has a daughter, he had to, attend to his daughter. And I got a young one here. I'm hoping she doesn't pop out. And if she does pop out, folks, I'll just, turn on some more clips from Dr. King and mute myself so I can tend to her because she's here today. But I just had to do this today. I got to ask you this. I had said to the brother earlier, when you look at preachers, or what we call jack-a-leg preachers, we got a lot of preachers running around who can't even wear Dr. King's jockstrap, if I can, for lack of a better word. They couldn't wear his jockstrap because as much as people criticize Dr. King in terms of the movement and the nonviolence type of perspective that they took, I don't ever remember hearing any documents or reports that Dr. King was taking the bag from people. We got a lot of people taking the bag today. But if I'm not mistaken, he didn't die a rich man, and he could have actually lived a very well-off life because of the fact that he came from an upper middle-class black family in Atlanta, Georgia. His father had a very well-known and famous church. I mean, Dr. King didn't really have to take on all this burden if you really think about it.
No, he didn't. And that's another reason why, I mean, like I said, I disagree with what he didn't know. We got to understand, like, sometimes we think, we want to judge people based upon what we know now.
Right. We weren't living then.
We know.
Right. And check this out.
Right.
I'm glad that you said that. Because if me and you and the brother that was on earlier, because I was trying to tell the brother that if you know anything about Dr. Cornel West, he's a professor of theology. Most black people or people who are into religion like that, they always sort of talk in this rainbow bright formation because that's what the Bible or the religion teaches you. So, and I was telling them, you are who you are when me and you, when we become, if God blesses us to live to be 80, 90 years old, our mindset is going to be from where we were when, right? So me and you didn't grow up in the 60s and we didn't grow up. We weren't grown men in those times. If me and you were both living then and we were old men now, we would have a different perspective.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, sometimes we gotta, and I understand, because I understand why that process is happening. See, what's going on is, I believe, I try to step outside of myself sometimes and just look at what's happening. That's what I try to do myself. I mean, I understand what I feel and what I believe and should be, but then sometimes I try to say, you know what, let me just see what's actually happening, because we got some control over how we feel, but we don't have necessarily control of the movement, meaning the swell of the total decisions of, the millions of people where that brings us to. It's like traffic, we got a little bit of control of our car, but traffic can put us a detour and make us all go somewhere.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that basically the point is that we got to sometimes just look at, our part in it, but then we got to look at how's this thing going to end up. Right. And the thing is, we needed at that time that religious language. Right. And we still need to kind of understand that religious language. It's just a language.
Right.
like you said, the Bible, and
but
they're talking about Jesus and all these kind of things, and about whatever that is. Adam, people get all into the because I believe in religion, but I've never been like a Bible thumper or whatever.
But see, this is where I
this
is where my respect goes. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't think. Tell me if you agree with me or you don't. I don't think it's religion. I don't think the belief in God is the problem. The problem is humans. Humans mess everything up.
Yeah.
So when you look at religion, when you look at religion as it relates to Dr. King, like I said earlier, where did activism begin for Black people in this country? It was the church.
Yep.
Let's go all the way back to Nat Turner. Nat Turner was one of our first, if not the first, Black religious activists out of that church, because they used that Bible to enslave us, and he turned it around on their butts, right? And I got a video I got to do on the remains of that they found.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and another thing, just as a side note to you, brother, I'm going to be doing a video talking about how they're buying people's homes in Detroit and turning people that were homeowners in Detroit into renters. And when I do that video, man, I got to get you, send me an email if you got my email. Okay, brother, I'm going to come to you in just a moment. Because when I do that video, I'm going to do it at night. I need to have you call in so that you can give me an on-the-ground perspective that I can't give people because you live there. But I got that video.
Well, actually, I'm from there. I live over here where around y'all now. I live in,
but you're from there. You can give us some perspective of the landscape because
definitely.
I got this video, and you probably seen it before, where you had these I
know. I've seen that one. I think I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about because they do that. They did that to me. They did that to my family.
Oh
they
God!
Stole us a house. They scammed us.
Then guess what?
It's I can tell you firsthand about that because we bought like 3 houses.
Okay. So check this out.
And I could tell you a lot of stuff about that.
Okay, then check this out, brother. I need you to email me because when I do that show and I show that video, I need you on deck to give the perspective.
Yeah, you just put that email. Yep, and I'll get it.
All right. I'll put it in the chat room. But we got brother ADOS Boots on the Ground, who's back on the line right now. What's going on, brother? We've been talking a little bit here, and so what's happening now? You're back on with us. What's going on, man?
Not man. Keep our eyes on the prize, man. Period. That's all we got to do. We doing it. This has never been done in history.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but we gotta. What can we do to not allow? You always have to use history. We have to look at the blueprint that was used to destroy the Black Panther Party, not this new Black Panther Party stuff. I'm talking about the original. We have to look at the blueprints that they use. Normally, the way they operate, and I've said this before, and you guys know this too, brothers, they use people that look like you. That's how how they operate. They can find a mully mouth Negro
mimetic
to destroy your movement. It's all it takes. And infighting. It's all it takes. And that's the end of it. We've seen this. Well, there are those of us in our family that's seen it, and young guys like ourselves, we read about it. There's people that seen it, and we read about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like to me, this is what I'm saying. I think we gotta look at their perspective as well, from the people who, what I call our opponents, or our enemy, meaning our some people who we spend, like you said, who do we spend 95% of our money with? We just gotta think about it. We don't need to answer it. Is it Black businesses? Is it who do we spend our money with? Now, if you get your little self together and you get your organizing together and you getting your reparations and you got your little business happening and, you insulating your community, you clean up your own sidewalks, you're having your own services and all these different things, and, you kind of working your own problems out by yourselves, and Who's losing?
Well,
there's a community that's getting trillions of dollars every year from a disaffected community. Do we think they're just going to let that money go without a fight? I mean, what, are we serious?
yeah. Look,
they're not going to let this money go.
That's why we got to keep on doing what we're doing.
Let me tell you guys.
But we need to identify. That's my point. Is we need to identify who is the main.
I can tell you right now, brothers.
The root.
I can tell you one of them. When I was coming up, in the early 80s as a young man, my teens, most of the beauty stores were owned by Black people. And when we went to go get our Afro Sheen, our, the little grease that was green in the can, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Anything.
Right. Yeah, that green hair pomade or whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is that was, and the products that we were buying were made by a Black company and sold by Black people. The minute we some kind of way allowed that to slip from our hands and we stopped supporting
that, we don't even realize it, right? Some kind of way.
Right. Some kind of way it slipped out of our hands. Our Black beauty stores start closing. And guess what? The Koreans moved right into the industry, took it over. And then guess who's getting all our money? I read the numbers on this. Black women, I'm not shading any Black women, but Black women are, I think it's going into billions of dollars, millions of dollars of hair weave.
$1 billion industry.
That's $1 billion industry, and Koreans are making all the money because our women are buying all that hair and all the products, and some of us are buying that damn Sporting Wave, and we're going to the Koreans that are selling it, that are moving in some of our communities, and they're getting all the money. And then our people are being treated poorly in these stores, but yet we keep going back. Just like that brother. I got to be controversial right now. Remember the brother, it was a Korean-owned beauty store. Black people went in there. The Black woman got The Black woman got treated poorly, and they had to bust those windows. And then when the brother came back, guess who was in there? Our women were in there supporting that store. And then the woman, and the woman that owned the store said, "You get out of here! You get out of here!" Now, there's several
videos like that.
Right. But that's what, that's called?
There's another one too.
Okay. That's called being off code. If our women were on code, if we were on code as a culture, our women would know that they got no business going back to the store that treated them like that. We got no business as Black men supporting stores that would treat us like that, or our women.
Period.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that go back. We ain't got the capital. Where we gonna get the capital?
Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. We do. Wait a minute. ADOS boots on the ground. We do got the capital. Look at what black people are $4 trillion. We spend more money on clothing.
Well, man,
it's where we spend our dollars. It's where we
spending pennies.
Listen, brother.
We're spending pennies, man.
Listen what I'm saying.
Half of them people on EBT.
Okay, then let me ask you this.
It's hard to see it, and I understand why somebody would say we don't have the money.
Okay, but check this out. Why is it?
They shopping at Bros.
But let me ask you this question, brother. How can they? Let me just say this.
Juggling bills.
We're not. Look, brother. I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to make a point here. This is how I make my point. Very simple. You look at Korean-owned beauty stores. The Koreans build their stores in our communities. They reap money and they go back to their community and they send their kids to what? To college on that money. How are they able to keep their business running? You know how? Because we're putting money in their pockets. So we are enriching other people.
But that go back to what Vet was talking about.
Okay.
We need the protection. They came here and got the protection. They was the only ones allowed to import hair here. They had the contract with America. We need the contract. They need to give us a contract with reparations that this was Black Americans only allowed to do.
Okay, then I got a $1 million question for you. How did Black people, this is Dr. King's day, and this is part of Dr. King's dream. Black people got to be self-sustaining. We got to live up to the values. If we're supposed to be free, how did we freely allow Black businesses like beauty stores to get in the hands of people who don't look like us, who are making money off of us, and we are enriching them by supporting their stores? If we weren't, they wouldn't be in business.
You know what happened?
It
to
is
black
hustle.
businesses?
What's going
You know
on,
what
brother?
happened to black
I'll come to you in
businesses
just a moment.
houses in Oakland, California?
Go ahead.
Crack. They left the houses to their kids, and the kids was on crack. And
Okay.
the condiments came and bought the store.
How much is rent in Oakland right now?
Okay.
Like $3,000 a week.
Yeah,
a month?
I can't afford to live there. Man.
I just did let me just say this. I just did a story. If you guys haven't seen my latest video, I talked about the moms for housing. It's getting unbelievable in the Bay Area right now. Oakland is the third worst area for renters in the nation.
But you know what killed me? They'll raise hell about a house that ain't theirs, but they won't raise hell about reparations. That's what killed me, man. We'll go
because it's so complicated. See, that's what I'm
and fight for reparations. If we use that same energy, we'll get in reparations.
Okay, I got another brother on the line.
What good is reparation without education, my man?
Yeah, wait a minute.
What good is reparation without education?
Who's the third person that's on the line right now? I just want to make sure everybody gets to say what's on their mind. Go ahead.
My name is Hustle.
Okay, Hustle. Check this out. Go ahead, Hustle.
Yes,
this is what I want you to do, brother. I want you to say your piece, and I want the other brothers to rebut whatever they want. But let's do this let's be respectful to each other. Do it in an orderly fashion, so we're not screaming at each other. So, brother Hustle, because you haven't had a chance to speak yet, go ahead and say your piece, and then brothers, then you guys can rebut, agree, whatever you want to do. But go ahead, Hustle.
So briefly, I chimed in a little late. I'm just getting off work.
No problem.
But I hear you guys talking about reparations and Rainbow Coalition, all these other things that you guys have been talking about since I jumped onto the live stream.
Okay.
My thing is about reparations is that let's say the hammer comes down and we get these reparations tomorrow.
Right.
What then? Right. What comes next? What are people going to do with these reparations? And my other thing is, go ahead, I'm listening.
We go build. You said education, right? So if you get your reparations and build a school for the uneducated people that got their reparations, that's what you're doing with your reparations, right?
But see, my thing is, not everybody's going to be on the same page when they get these reparations. Like for instance, like when people hit the lottery, when our people hit the lottery, what do they do first? They go out, they splurge, they have a good time.
See, that's pocket watching, though. I ain't worried about what you do with your reparation check.
Right. But that's my thing about desegregation. Well, that's my point about desegregation. So what I'm saying about desegregation is to me, it was kind of the gift and the curse. Because if we would have stuck together and had stayed segregated from everybody else, maybe we would have learned how to work together a little better as a people and uplifted our own and reached down and helped the next man versus where we are now. We're like crabs in a barrel almost. I'm not saying I'm watching the next man's pockets, but if we all get in our reparations, and I'm saying, okay, look, I'm willing to put mine in the pot to better our people, to better the next generation. So my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids' kids can have this generational wealth. Why shouldn't the next man? My thing is we should all be on the same page and be educated and move forward as a united front with these reparations, so that way we can truly catch up to the whites and the Jews and everybody else. We're so far behind the 8 ball right now that we almost have to watch the next man pocket and say, hey, my man, that might not be the wisest choice for your reparations right now. Maybe you should come over here with what we're doing.
I agree with that.
To be a part of something bigger. You know what I'm saying?
But let me say this. Let me say this. Let me chime in. I can tell you one thing with the sisters over there in Oakland, the mothers for housing. I tell you what reparations would do with them automatically. It would make them no longer homeless, and they could buy the damn house that corporation Edgewood is fighting them over. It gives black people a load of money that can solve some of our.
And they're on the same. They're on the same page.
Brother,
you know what I'm saying?
I know, but you didn't let me finish. Let's do this in orderly fashion.
My fault, brother. Go ahead.
Because I don't want to do other programs where people are screaming on each other. All I'm basically saying is by having an influx of money like that, we no longer have to be concerned about our housing. We can afford it. We can educate ourselves by creating our own schools. You got Dr. Umar Johnson, and God knows whatever you think of him. He's talking about he want to build a school, right?
I was just getting ready to bring his name up.
With that kind of money, you could have a school in the fashion of what he's talking about right now. Any of us could open up a damn school in our own hood, in our own neighborhoods. We don't have to rely on the government to educate us. And wait a minute, brother. Black people suffer from poor health care. With an influx of money, I can improve my health. And you're going to always have some folks out there.
If we still don't trust the white doctors who are providing the healthcare? Not saying that there aren't any black doctors out there, but there's a plethora of white doctors, Indian doctors. You see what I'm getting at? How are we supposed to go and get treated by the people who we don't trust?
Brother, we know that black people.
Let me
stop. Hey,
older generation.
I'm gonna. Hey, we're not gonna have all this talking over each other. I would say to you, brother.
Go ahead.
That black people have always had a fear of medical industry because they have experimented on us, going all the way back to the Tuskegee, Alabama experiment. Right. But check this out. The bottom line is it's already been proven. I work in health, but I work in mental health. If you do not have money for your health, you're going to die. And people who have, I'm gonna come to you, sister. People who have money to improve their health, it gives you options. So if black people are afraid of white doctors, you can go find the best black doctors that money can buy. It gives you options. Right. That's the power of having that influx of money. You've got the options to do whatever the hell you want to do. If you want to be a bum on the street with money, you'll do that. If you want to travel, it gives us options that we do not have right now. I mean, think about it. Look, I'm college educated, but guess what? Doesn't matter if you're college educated, you have a good job or not. Let's be honest. We're all the working poor. We're all 1 to 2 paychecks homeless. That reparations check would neutralize that automatically. We could get our kids in the best schools. We could send our kids to private schools that we want them to go to or create our own. So it neutralizes a lot of pain financially. How many of us are in debt with the IRS or in some kind of debt? We could neutralize that debt. It gives you options that we do not have. It gives us options. That's all I wanted to say. It's a good discussion, brothers. You guys are doing a damn good job today, man. Y'all bringing some fire and some juice to the program, man. I want to thank y'all for this. Do we have a young lady on?
I want to thank you. I mean, I just found your channel today.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Scrolling through, and I just found your channel today, and I heard you guys on here talking. I'm a young man. I ain't but 33 years old.
Okay, you know I'm 50 years old. I
wanted to come on and I wanted to share what my viewpoints are as a young black man in America.
No, check this out, brother. I'll be doing more programs like this. I would like you guys to continue calling in because I'm going to have these kind of programs where I'm going to ask the difficult questions that need to be answered. And I like brothers from your generation because you give us a perspective that we may not understand from our generation. If I'm an older brother, I'm 50 years old, so I got a different perspective than yours. So you're more than welcome to call in and participate. Check me out. Check out my channel. Check out my content. Ask around YouTube. There's a lot of people.
I've already subscribed. I'm subscribed and I got to turn my bell on.
Okay, brother. Yeah, I'm a little known entity on YouTube. You know, O'Shea Duke Jackson. And a lot of folks know who I am. But check it out for yourself, brother. Ask somebody. But thank you. Let me just say here. I just want to be respectful. Do we have another person on the line? Was it a sister on the line?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it's Masira.
Okay. Let's get a female perspective now. How you doing, by the way? Welcome to the program today.
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Well, check this out. This program is on Twitter Live right now, Spotify, Spreaker Live, Facebook. We're hitting all platforms right now. But what are your thoughts about some of the things that we've said? Any thoughts about Dr. King? I played some clips today. I will play some more near the end of the program. But what are your thoughts on this Dr. King Day?
I'm respectful of Dr. King. I like how he, he was about nonviolence, and I come from a very violent home, a violent history, and I had to be reprogrammed to, I preach, violence is not the way because I've done it that way. And that's a long story. But I wanted to give a perspective about the buying power that Black people have and how they don't know their worth. And there's situations where, like, foreigners will come to Black hairstylists, and you know, they'll get services from us to teach. You know, even our friends will be like, you know, non-Blacks, and we'll charge like $20, $50, like, you know. And also, I wanted to go just in the spirit, you know, how it's a spiritual warfare. I have an ex.
Right. Go ahead.
And he dated a foreigner, an Asian woman. And he had a dream about her being a witch, and he confronted her, and she said, yeah, you know, she eats feces and drink piss, and they have this money god. They have this money god they pray to, like, you know, Jews consider Jesus the poor man's god. So, but Asians have a money god, and he's seen this money god. He had jewels decked all over him. He had a dream about him, and what they do is to get the Black woman to keep coming back to them beauty supplies. And I've walked into these beauty supplies, and since I was a child, they have altars. They have altars in their Asian restaurants. You see what I'm saying? But Black people don't see it, you know, but it's right there in their face. And what they do is to get that Black woman to come back when they disrespect them, there's a certain hour they go in the back and they start chanting to their money god. Hell, they speak in front of you when you're getting your nails done. When you it treats like whatever. And you trying to, and so you have these protests of these Black men outside. Don't go in there, and it's a full line.
Okay, but let me give you, okay, sister, then let me do this right here for the purpose of the program, because I'm going to always ask questions or do some pushback here. We know that Black people had the hair industry locked up and beauty industry locked up in terms of selling products when I grew up under that time. Now, whether it's a money god or some chanting, the thing we do know, let's be honest here, sister. Let's be honest. There are a lot of sisters out here who are hooked on the weave. They got to get that weave done. So is it because there's a money god that they're chanting to, or is it just because Black women are into their beauty, they're into their hair? As long as I've been alive on this earth, Black women have always been into their hair, always been into fashion and makeup and all these sort of things. They've always had a passion for it, even when Black people were selling them the products. So what I'm trying to say to you is what you're saying based in truth as an argument to the discussion, or is it just another excuse that we're using to define why Black people or even Black men will run to a store where they can be poorly treated, but they'll continue giving their dollar? Or is it that we as individuals make bad decisions and we're so focused on keeping up with the Joneses, and we're so caught up in the superficial of hair and looks and all of that? And you know where this comes from, sister? This is my thought. We've been culturally conditioned in this society to see ourselves as ugly. So if you think about it, Black people for years, historically, we've been changing our hair. We went from the conch hairdo. we had afros to conch in our hair. We had conch hairdo. You had Black women perming their hair at one point in time from the afro. Now you got natural hair coming back into the scene today. Black people have had such a psychological impact on us and how we see ourselves that we're always trying to do something to change how we look, to feel good about ourselves and how the world sees us. So is it that, or is it more deeper than just some Asian person chanting? Because I think it goes deeper than somebody chanting to some Buddha item or something.
Right. Unfortunately, I believe it's the latter.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I answer the question?
Yeah. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you. I'm just saying, let's, for the sake of the discussion, we got to put all the perspective out there, but go right ahead, sister.
Yes, I've considered all of those factors. Those are, great factors.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to self-love and self-celebration and dealing with hatred of self. And right. I still believe that this goes back to the attributes that are, within us, the God and goddesses within us, the principles that are within us. We do have, it's not like it's a God, but it's a God principle. Women have been over beauty. That's just within us. That's spiritual, that's feminine, that's it's divine. We've always been over beauty. And the way we did it in Africa, it was more natural products. There's certain type of crystals that you can grind down into a powder and dye your hair blue. Mm-hmm. That's why you see in hieroglyphs, even with blue hair, there's a certain type of, I forget it, but, you know, and there's certain type of, you know, powders that kill parasites and can detox your skin, and you can wear it on your face. You see what I'm saying? As a makeup or eyeshadow. That's why people are going back to mineral makeup. Black women are going to always be trying to change something about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Whether they go back to the natural way of doing it or rather they do a chemical way of doing it. What I got into makeup was to conceal my acne because I didn't even know how to deal with that as a child. So, you know, there is an opportunity to capitalize off of that when people are in a position to have the credit power or buying power. But we need to really have more love for ourselves if we're going to go that route, to just buy from the Blacks that provide all of those things. We have people that make soaps, Black men, that's out. You know what I'm saying? So I do consider all of this, and I actually agree that it's not just the fact of the Asian money god or who they're praying to. I just wanted to just, you know, see what you guys thought about that perspective. You open up a conversation for what is it really?
Let me chime in on.
Okay, go right ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say, to me, that right there, the Asian, that's just one aspect, but it's a good example that we can talk about and really go into. And she went into, and it shows too that the sisters have a totally different perspective, and because I don't know anything about the hair and the crystals, but it's real. You know, it's something that millions of people do, you see, especially in our community. But the point is, it's real reparations, even if the check is just symbolic. But the biggest reparations for us is the end of the sabotage of our community.
Right.
If they stopped sabotaging us, we would get ourselves together by ourselves. The Koreans were given our industry. Just remember when you said, oh, some kind of way we just lost it. We had control of it in some kind of way. Right. They were literally, South Korea was literally given, and there's a video out, and there's many Black people exposing that, and there's actually a white guy that exposed some of that. Right. That in 1962, that the Koreans, like they took some kind of peace deal or something like that. South Korea
there was a deal,
was given our industry as payment.
Right. That's
they
right.
They were given our hair care industry.
That's right.
And so they got tax like breaks to get it. Then they stopped us. They create these licenses. In some states, you can't cut somebody's hair if you don't have a license, and you can't braid somebody's hair if you don't have a license. They will literally put you in jail. All of these different methods that they use to prevent us from controlling what is ours. This is our birthright because we were born with this hair and we naturally learn how to do it. And then they want to take what's our birthright away. See what I'm saying? So this is a good example because it's not even that they're actually preventing us from controlling our own hair.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And it was actually literally taken.
Right. So now, in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King today and his legacy, what did they do back in his day? They did what? The Montgomery boycott.
Right.
And
see, that's what we need.
That was in 1955, somewhere in there. They did boy boycotts. They said, okay, we're not going to ride the bus and get you, get you guys rich. Excuse me, my voice is all messed up. I'm saying things wrong. So this is the thing. If we're not happy with what's going on, why is it that Black people today, in the spirit of Dr. King, why are we not boycotting and hitting these businesses that disrespect us economically? I can tell you right now, check this out. This is my dream. If Black people were to wake up tomorrow and not go into any of these stores like these Korean-owned beauty stores that moving. If we didn't pay 1 cent to them, how long you think they're gonna be in business? Even with any help that they get from the government, how long you think they're gonna be in business before
Maybe 30 days.
Thank you.
Maybe.
And so that was my whole argument in the first place when I said, wait a minute. Yeah, black people, we don't have generational wealth. A lot of us ain't running around with a lot of money, but with little bit of money that we have, if we could understand how to make what we do have, maximize that to our best interest, we could put them out of business. It's just that simple.
Information man.
Yes, sir.
Information man.
Yes, sir.
This what I say.
Okay.
Put your makeup on, get to the polls, vote down box,
okay.
Fight for the reparations, so you could get your own beauty supply. You could buy 100 of them if you want, because we demand.
Honestly, man, it doesn't even take that. It doesn't even take that. Okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay, wait a minute. Let him finish. Let him finish his point, and then, brother Huey, you come in after. Okay, this is a good discussion, brothers. I love it.
Because we want something every year like the Jews get.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you go open up 100 beauty supplies if you want to.
Mm.
That's what reparation does.
So it
changes the whole ball game.
Right.
And guess what? Then we can get some of that free labor. See? I can get some of that free labor. I can hire me a few immigrants to work for me. You know what I mean? Build me a few houses. You know? Yeah. That's what that does.
So it gives us options.
America getting that free labor.
Right.
Yes. It gives us, we can get on the monopoly board then. See, we ain't even on the monopoly board.
You know, let me say something kind of crazy to you, because you said the monopoly board. I think everybody, this is what's brilliant about monopoly. Monopoly is really showing you how the economic game works. Take the same strategy of the monopoly board and apply it to real life. Okay, brother Huey, say your piece. Huh?
You get money.
Right. But what is money. Okay? What is the strategy of monopoly? What is it? The goal is what? To own everything on the board, houses, businesses, right?
Right.
So if we had, if you had reparations, that would give you the option to buy property, to build your own beauty stores. Now you don't need to run to the other stores, right? For example, brother Huey, I want you to say whatever you wanted to say, your rebut or whatever your thoughts are. Go ahead, brother.
So what I wanted to say, one, I wanted to address the sister that's on the chat.
Okay.
And also the previous brother who just spoke.
Okay.
So I'm not too familiar. I'm not gonna say I'm not familiar, but I'm sure I'm not in the depth of what she is familiar. Sister, if you're still on the line, what would you say is the average cost a woman spends on hair care a month? Hair care or cosmetology in general. What would you say they spend on beauty per month? The average woman.
Give me one moment.
With what money?
Oh, sisters they find ways to get their hair done, brother. We all know this.
We know how to get money. We're women.
Fact.
And I don't want to get to it. You see what I'm saying?
The art of hustle is defined by the black culture.
We'll spend the man's money. You see what I'm saying? But I would say, I would just say between, it depends, because there's levels to it. You see what I'm saying? She might be high class, middle class, low class. Somebody might spend $300-$500 for their hair and their nails. You see what I'm saying? And if you got to get a fill every 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? She might be worth 2 G's, you know what I'm saying, a month, just to keep up with her.
All right, so let's keep it on average. Let's say about $1,000.
ADOS one.
Let's say, right? No, but I'm saying that the average woman is somewhere between 20 and 40 years old. Okay, the average woman is somewhere between 20 and 40 years old. They're spending about roughly, I'll say, $1,000 a month on beauty.
Okay,
right?
Brothers, let me put some perspective.
So how many sisters are going to the local? How many sisters are going to the local hair salon to get their weaves and their hair and their nails done? Let's say pick any random shop and let's take 10 sisters out of that one shop. If 10 of those sisters did not go and buy those weaves and boycotted the nails and all that other stuff and save that $1,000, that's $10,000 a month between 10 sisters that they could save and put towards their own business, their own beauty supply store or whatever, whatever.
Let me
definitely run the Asian store out of business.
Okay.
They put them out of business in 6 months.
Let me wait a minute.
I'm stealing out the store.
Let me put some perspective on this too. Let me just hang on, everybody. I gotta say this. I looked this up. African Americans, men and women, spend billions of dollars on their hair, but the United States beauty care companies are missing out. I don't know what that hell is that about. Value that black hair care industries at more. It's valued at $2.5 billion. But the statistics does not include the products such as hair accessories, wigs, and electric styling products. So just a basic number right now that I just looked up is at $2.5 billion. That's for black men and black women. Right. That doesn't even include the wigs and all that other stuff that goes along. So now if it's valued at $2.5 billion, and the reason why I say the United States is not getting in on it is because other ethnic groups, such as the Koreans, they've got the industry locked up, stock and barrel. So if it's generating that kind of money just on a basic level, that's $2.5 billion. That means that where's that money coming from? It ain't coming out of the thin air. It's coming from black people's hands. It's coming from us.
Right. Information, please. Look, information. Look, I do security at
Okay.
Beauty, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the data. ADOS is not coming in there shopping, bro. We don't have the capital, man.
Mm-hmm.
When they do come in there, they getting the littlest thing, an eyeliner or something.
Right, but we're not talking about Ulta, bro. That's high class sedity white people stuff, man. We're not talking about Ulta. We're talking about the local mom and pop Korean shop that's in the hood. That's what we're talking about.
I do it at CVS too. They sell makeup. There. I do security there too.
Mm-hmm. Let me read. I have to do this. Let me read a couple of statements from the chat room. We got Black Man who says more black banks is a start. And with us using the black banks, we give loans for businesses in our neighborhoods. Okay. Now we got the Black Cyber Network who says, I heard Herazi is walking across the Gulf of Mexico. Somebody. Okay. I don't know what that's about. Let me see. Wrote the people that are losing collectively, knowing most black people are Christian, Democrats, nor blacks, nor brothers that are not what Halazi would do. This is the Black Cyber Network saying a couple of statements. I might have said some things wrong, but and then we got Brenda Johnson. Don't go for the sister, please. Black men and women must support one another. No, we're not going to argue with each other, Brenda Johnson. You know how I get down on my show.
We're not going at this.
Okay. No. We just look. You learn from asking questions. Nilly Fuller Jr. says you can learn everything you need to know by asking questions. We have to ask questions. Go right ahead. Mm-hmm.
Information. I'll say this. I'll say this. If we don't get reparations by 2050, we're going to be in the bud fields picking buds. Okay? Cannabis is going to be off the hook, and they're going to have black Americans out there. Okay? We're not even going to be able to afford a cheeseburger if we don't get reparations.
The workforce is going to be down by 30%. Any jobs that they don't need humans, that affects everybody. Everything's going to animation. So if they don't need you, you're gone. They don't
need us now.
And check this out. If we don't get our economics in order, we are in trouble in the 2000. What you predict is a reality. Yes, sir.
Information man. Guess who the supervisors and the managers is at Ultra Beauty? Mexicans, man. Mexicans. We're not even being supervisor or managers no more, man. We barely getting the hours. ADOS sister came in here yesterday. I worked Sunday. I said, where you been at? Oh, I've been here. You ain't been here. I've been here 5 days straight. I said, is it that you're not getting the hours or you don't want it? Oh, it fluctuates. See, one thing I learned about ADOS, we don't want to admit we poor, man. We don't want to admit it, man. Oh, we got to, I got money. I could do that.
Poor.
Well, I know
my brother. What's your name? The brother that's speaking right now. What's his name?
He's ADOS Boots on the Ground.
Boots on the ground. Let me ask you. Say you do security, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what's stopping you? Who do you? I don't want you to put your business out there, but the security firm that you work for, is it white owned?
No, it's Indian. I think he's Indian or something. I ain't met him yet.
Regardless, it's not black owned. How long have you been doing security?
About a year now.
About a year now. So I would say that you have enough knowledge to start pooling your resources, start doing your research, and start organizing on your own and create your own security firm. It's not hard.
What
LLC costs $150.
What bank gonna give me the loan to start it? I need microphones.
Bro, you don't.
I need this.
Bro, you don't.
What
you
bank?
don't.
Bank?
Bro, trust me.
What bank?
You don't need banks, bro. You don't need banks. You don't need banks.
I'm supposed to start.
Nah, man.
I'm supposed to start a
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Bro, listen to me. Listen to me. My name is Hustle the Trucker. I'm poor. I'm from the hood. You know what I'm saying? I became my own operator. I'm doing my own thing. Ain't nobody giving me nothing, man. I ain't going to no banks again and go and get no loan.
I feel you, bro. When I get reparations, I'm gonna do all that, bro. When I get reparations,
that's what I'm saying, man. We can't wait. We can't wait on reparations, bro.
I know. That's why we fighting
for on something that don't never come.
That's why we fighting for it right now, bro. That's why they talking about us on CBS.
Yeah, we fighting for it, bro. But it's not like it ain't coming tomorrow, bro. And you know what I'm saying, bro? You could die. Bro, you could die and be gone before you ever get your reparations. So you gonna be stagnant?
I'm gonna die fight.
You gonna be stagnant? You gonna be stagnant? Nah, bro, it's about progress.
I'm gonna die fight.
So let me ask you a question. I was trying to ask you a question. If you have kids? You got kids?
Yeah. I work 6 days a week.
My man.
I work
facts. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you're not progressing as a man, especially as a black man,
I'm fighting for reparations for everybody.
Listen, bro. I'm not knocking you. I'm trying to uplift you. I'm trying to empower you. You ain't got to wait for reparations, man.
Bro. My people dying in tents, bro. My people dying in tents right now,
bro. I get that. But what I'm saying, brother, man, listen to what I'm saying to you, bro.
Brothers.
I'm passionate about it. It's nothing you can tell me, bro. I'm passionate about it.
I gotta turn the volume down on that. It's not a constructive conversation because you're both back and forth with each other. Boots on the ground, ADOS boots on the ground. We understand that you're passionate, and you're right. There are people in tents in Oakland in particular because homelessness is running rampant out there, just as it is in Los Angeles with the Skid Row. We know what's happening. We saw the ladies, the black women, mothers for housing that are going through some things and trying to bring a call to alert to what's happening in the Bay Area. Brother Huey, I understand where you're coming from. But this is the thing. We cannot come to a solution if we're having cloudiness in a discussion that's based on the back and forth of a non-constructive conversation. We have to think about this in a clear manner, and we need to be very to the point about what it is that we're trying to achieve. You all have different perspectives, but guess what? You're all on the same page because we all want what is best for black people in the country that we live in. That's the bottom line. What is best for us? We're going to always have our differences, but it's got to be about what's best for us. That's all I wanted to say, brothers. Let's try this again. Let's not have people talking over each other because it does not make for a good live stream. People want to be able to hear your points very clearly. So let's not talk over each other, brothers. Please give each other respect. And I'm bringing the volumes back up.
I apologize.
My bad.
Okay. I'm about to. You brothers continue talking.
On the ground. My bad. I want to make one last point.
I'm going to tend to my young one right now, so continue talking.
All right, boots on the ground. Do I have your attention for 1 minute before I go into the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you, my brother, is I'm not saying that we should not continue fighting for reparations. That's not what I'm saying at all. We should definitely continue to fight for that because I do believe that that's ours. We are deserved. We are owed that. That belongs to us. But the fact that we have not received it yet should not stop our progress as a people. and you as a black man with a family, with kids, you should definitely be trying to make progress for your kids, for your family. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I started my own trucking company. I'm a part of an organization, and why I say you don't need banks. I'm a part of a small community of brothers. We uplift one another. We started an organization called Truckers Feeding the Homeless, where we've received zero financing from banks. Zero financing. It's all community finance for brothers who believe in one another, to uplift us, to start our own things. We did an event down in Dallas. We fed I want to say it was 600 or 700 homeless people. Now, just imagine if there were more than 10 or 15 of us pooling our money together. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you could find a similar group in your area, you could definitely create your own security firm and then provide jobs for others and keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling, my brother. That's all I'm saying. Don't let the progress stop because you ain't got your reparations yet. But I'm not saying don't stop fighting for it either. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's absolutely true. You're not chiming in on
I
that?
want to see you succeed, bro. I want to see every brother out here succeed. That's it.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, brother. You haven't said anything in a while. And
Yes,
I like the positive vibe. I like the positive vibe right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I wanted to say too on that point was Brother Hustle. That's your name, Brother Hustle, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, see, there's no need for us to argue if we have good people in the head at the point in. I don't want to say leadership, but I'll say at the point in of these social movements, because what Brother Hustle said really chimes right along with what Brother ADOS Boots on the Ground is saying. But the thing is that we are coming from different perspectives, right? And if we block each other out, then damn, we can get it all done, because when we pool our resources, right, with the same energy that we're using to work together, because see, the struggle is bringing us together, actually. When we do these social movements, it causes us to have these conversations, which makes us want to talk to each other, which makes us want, because a lot of times you see Black folks, we come back, especially here on the West Coast. Now, we in the South and on the East, in the Midwest, we say hi to each other when we walk past each other. But on the West Coast, I say hi to people many times, brother just looks straight ahead, like I didn't say nothing to him. Fighting way like that.
Information, man. When the last time I called in? I don't do these call-ins, bro, because everybody ain't on reparations.
I hear you, brother.
Not on reparations.
Now, let me make something very clear to you, though. I'm 100%, and I'm gonna let the sister chime in. I'm 100% with reparations. I've been fighting for reparations since I was a teenager. This whole thing, the ADOS movement, is nothing new to me.
Right.
Because when I was a teenager, I remember signing petitions and all types of stuff saying, yes, reparations. So I never am going to say a negative thing about it. And I do. Let me tell you this right now. This is my soapbox right here. I have a problem personally with Black folks who run around. This is my opinion, talking about what Black folks going to do with their money. Don't worry about what we gonna do with our money. You worry about what you're gonna do with your money, because you could take your money and build something that can benefit us all. Worry about what you're gonna do with your money. And like Brenda Johnson said in the chat room, Sister Brenda Johnson, I love her. She said, start a business by yourself. It's easy making it grow where you need each one. So I'm just saying, take your money, start a business. Start a business if you can.
We have to start businesses.
That's all I'm saying. Start a business if you can.
Reparations check?
If you got reparations, hell yeah. And check this out.
Wait, my man.
Wait a minute.
It's all together.
Let me just say this, and I'll be quiet. With a reparations check, you won't need to deal with no banks. You just go do it. Now, at the same time, the brother Huey that's on Hustle. I'm sorry, brother Hustle. Respect to you. He is making a good point. If you look at our spending and how we spend our money foolishly on certain things, we could take that same money and build something now, step by step.
What?
That's all I wanted to say.
Information. You a citizen? Ain't you an American citizen? You supposed to be able to go to the bank and be treated like a citizen.
Well, let me ask this question. Let me answer this like this.
That's in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world.
Right. If
that's
I
what
was
we're fighting for, bro.
okay.
That's what we're fighting for.
If we were, let me just say this to you, brother, and I believe in reparations. Don't get me wrong. If black, we had this question on my last show. If black people were truly citizens, matter of fact, we were emancipated. That just meant that we weren't property anymore, folks. If we're truly citizens, why is it that we're the only group in this country had to have laws passed to give us that which we should have if we were citizens? I'm putting that out there is just some more meat, some more red meat to chew on, because we're the only people that they had to make laws to pass to give us what little bit we
voting
have.
rights act.
That tells me right there that America does not see us as true citizens. That's all I wanted to say.
And that's why they go pass. That's why they go pass a law with his reparations that makes us a citizen to deal with capital and be treated like everybody else that was treated with capital. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Then check this out. Okay, I'm gonna throw this on the table as well as more red meat. What politicians right now? I've been watching Jamie Fowler. I interviewed Jamie Fowler on my show. What politicians right now, Democrat or Republican, are truly going to implement the reparations? And I'm not saying this to say that I don't think that we deserve it.
It's a marathon.
But a lot of, I know, but I have to be fair here, brother.
It might take 10 years.
It
might take 10 years.
Look, brother, we know that. It took black folks over 400 years to get to where we are now. I get that. But right now, let's be honest.
Why are we talking about what politician talking about?
The reason why I'm bringing it up, brother, and I watched Jamie Fowler's his videos, and I talked to him about this personally on my show. A lot of these politicians, when you ask them that question, they're ducking and diving. They're talking all of this. Well, if like Bernie Sanders, if I do this, it trickle down to black people too. Let's get into the diversity and they're trying to run that game on us again.
Guess what?
The Obama game again.
Guess what? You won't get our vote. How about that? You won't get our vote. Now,
I'm just throwing it out there I'm just saying this for the sake of our discussion. What I'm saying?
You see how the ball play?
I see.
We got to play politics.
I see, sir.
We got to play politics.
Right. Let me Go ahead. Mark, you come in, and then let's let the sister say whatever else she wants to add. Let's give her a chance to speak. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
For sure.
No. What I was saying is, like I said, brother, when we were first having these debates, I hope that the brothers that are strong on the ADOS hashtag group, which is valuable to me. I know this. Everybody's talking about the little problems, the infight, and all that stuff. We focus too much on bad. We got to look at both sides. But the point is that but doing for self does not stop you from. It actually makes us more effective to get that reparation, because it brings us together. And when we start businesses together, we actually begin to trust each other more, right? Mm-hmm. And then that makes us more effective in organizing other stuff. So doing for self, it's the same thing. It's a process. So it's a process. Like, let me ask you a question. Let me put it like this. I can't just start teaching you algebra when, if you're 5 years old. I got to teach you addition, subtraction. I got to teach you, and then I got to teach you another step. You can't just go straight to the reparation. That's hard, bro. You got to be organized, okay? So that starts with businesses and little small things first, but it's leading you up to be able to organize to get that and finance that politician and get those reparations passed. So what I'm saying is, what the people saying, nobody should be thinking, working together to build a little something for yourself in the meantime, while because that reparation is going to take everybody. Right. It's going to take millions of people to make that happen. But, right in the meantime, maybe you, like I said, got, 10 friends or whatever, we got an extra little $100 or whatever. We put that together for a year, get us a little house, start some rentals, go to NACA, set up something so we can get some money going on. That is part of bringing us together and we still pushing our agenda, right?
Right.
So that's all I got to say.
Okay. Let me go over to the sister that's on, if she's still on the line. Are you still on the line, sister?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. You've heard a lot that the brothers have had to say. We've gone back and forth. What are your thoughts?
There's a quote I'm reminded of by MLK. People fail to get along because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other.
Right.
They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. And it reminds me of religion. People gather together to edify one another, to commune with one another, although it may be senseless rituals, drinking wine or bread. But it's a place we were able to come together and commune. Here, slip a number. Here, let me whisper a few words in your ears. You see what I'm saying? Everything was silent.
Right.
To let a brother know, okay, you can do this, whistleblowing and stuff like that. But that's the problem. Being silent. We don't remember the words of our enemies. We remember the silence of our friends.
Right.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Right. Let me make this quote.
Can I touch on that right fast? Please?
Go ahead. And after you, I have a quote from Dr. King I want to bring up. Go ahead.
If I feared for my brother, I wouldn't be fighting for my brother to get reparations.
Okay. I hear you.
Because that put us in a position that all of us win. See, I ain't worried about me winning. I'm worried about all my Black Americans winning. And when you get your money,
I'm worried about you winning.
But listen, while I'm focused on trying to run a business, I could be waking up 1 million more people on reparations and what we're fighting for. You see what I'm saying? While I'm focused on trying to build this little bitty business, I could be waking up people.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? It's people that don't.
Black
like
people.
You said, it's gonna take millions of people.
Yeah, Black
we gotta
people.
Wake them up, bro. We gotta wake them up.
Right. Let me say this: Black people are multidimensional. We can chew gum, ride a bike, do all this shit at the same time. Not a problem. Let me make this quote in the spirit of Dr. King. Dr. King had a statement that he said that one of the most dangerous things in America is conscientious stupidity and sincere ignorance. Now, what does that mean? I'm throwing it on the table. This is a Dr. King quote. What does that mean? Sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. What does that mean, gentlemen and lady, and those in the chat room?
To me, that's just, it just shows how sincere we are. We are passionate and we believe we know something. And that's why humbleness is important. Because first of all, you got to know that you don't know everything.
Right.
None of us know everything. So I got to sit down. I know I feel like I want to say something. I know I feel like he's wrong or she wrong, or maybe she don't know what I'm going through. But like, we dealing with our lifetime and our perspective of something, and we write about what we saying on our little level. But those folks are writing about what they saying. So in order for us to really get a more comprehensive understanding, we got to listen to reality from somebody else's eyes, and we got to learn how to calm ourselves down and just try to really understand what they're saying. Why are they saying that? Because they're telling a truth, but it's from their perspective. And so if we want folks to listen to us, we need to try our best to actually listen to others, and just, that's what I believe, because we fighting real passionately, and sometimes we don't know something, and then nobody can tell us what we don't know, because we just really, we in this state of belief, right? So that's what I think.
I think we all, as I said before, I think we all want the best for our people. We may have different ideologies as we think that how we can get there. But one, reparations definitely has to be on the table. Two, us taking what money we do have to start businesses. Like I said before, we can ride a bike, chew gum, skip rope. Black people historically have had to wear so many different masks in this society. We wear a mask when we go to work. We wear a mask going out into society as to how society looks at us. We wear so many different masks. We are like chameleons. We have to adapt to every situation, and we are resilient as a people. We're going to adapt to this situation. And you're right, brother ADOS, boots on the ground. Some of us may not be alive to see reparations. It could be our grandchildren, our children. But that is about what? What did Dr. King do? He sacrificed himself. We have to be willing today to sacrifice ourselves, not because we're thinking about what we're getting now, but what could be the possibility for our children in the future. And this is the truth, my black people, my beautiful black people today. You may not be alive to see the glory, but your children will be the ones to see the glory.
But guess what?
Yes, sir.
Long as my children see me running around here talking about reparations and fighting like they go pick up the torch.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? They go pick up the torch. Yeah, this what my daddy was on. This what my daddy was talking about. Yeah, this what I'm doing. Yeah. So it's either you with reparations or you with building a business. You know what I mean? What car you gonna jump in? You gonna jump in the car they smoking weed, or you gonna jump in the car they smoking crack?
Right.
Which car are you getting in?
You're right.
Because I'm getting in the car they smoke weed. I smoke weed, so I'm getting in that car. That's what I fuck with.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
It boils down to that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Either you with the people fighting for reparations or you're not.
Right.
You can't straddle. You can't straddle the fence. It's not a straddle the fence game.
So in keeping with Dr. King Day, let me ask all of you this question. You can all answer it in your own individual manner. If King was alive today, this is a two-part question, and let's just get right to the point. If King was alive today, would he be happy with the state of black people today? And would he still be would he be for ADOS, for reparations in the form in which it's taking place today with the movement? Who would like to answer that two-part question first and get right to the point so we can get to the next person? Who would like to answer that in their own way?
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer.
Go ahead.
I don't think he'll be happy.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be happy. And then just because he was going for the check, and then his death pushed us, and then of course they killed a lot of other people who knew the game and scared the hell out of all his little civil rights buddies and gave them jobs. And then they stopped doing the work.
Okay.
And so we had to relearn the same problem, and now we're doing what he did.
Okay.
So I think he would be happy that we're trying to get the check again, but it took 40 years or whatever it took. And so, he would probably, I don't know if he would be necessarily happy with ADOS in all of its current form, but I think he would be happy that ADOS is at least on the road to try to, get some restitution.
Okay. Okay. Who else would like to take on the question next?
Let the sister go.
Go ahead, sister.
I don't know the man personally, but in my own words and just seeing some of his quotes, I think that, it's an expression of love where we're at. And he's taken some steps to get, to that staircase. And I think that this is just another form of taking another step. And with love, I think that he would be happy that at least, we don't fear hopefully we're not operating in fear or operating in hate to take the next step. I don't know if that answers the question, but
okay,
that's just where I'm at with it.
Okay, that's fair. That's real fair. ADOS, boots on the ground, brother. You've been very passionate today, and I appreciate your passion. How would you like to answer the question how you see fit, brother? Go ahead.
I think he would be 100%. I think he'd be at some conferences in his wheelchair.
Yeah, because he would be 91 years old. If he was alive, he would be 91 years old today. But go ahead.
Where is his daughters at?
Well, I got to keep it real. There has been some infighting within the family between Dexter King and the other and King Jr. And some of the fights as we all know that have happened over the years has been over what? Intellectual properties, right? They've been fighting over the whole intellectual properties. Dexter King has been over the King Center in Atlanta. There's been some mess. I don't want to disparage Dr. King and his family, but they've had some some problems that they've been dealing with that has nothing to do with Dr. King because he's not here.
I thought his daughters was in the politics.
I know he has a daughter I know he has a daughter that's a preacher in Atlanta. King Jr.
Regina King.
Yeah, Gene King, and then King Jr. He's been kind of like, involved in activism with Al Sharpton and everything like that. Dexter King, which is the younger son, has been in charge of the King Center in Atlanta. But what I'm trying to tell you all is that if you do your research over the last some years that have passed, they have had some personal things going on within the family with the children of Dr. King.
Yeah, Dexter was trying to sell his books and all his papers.
Yes,
sell everything. And the Regina King, she said that was not for sale. Yeah, Regina. So she's been the more the daughter has been the more authentic,
right?
That people want to say as far as his legacy goes. She's not selling out. She's not like look at it as a sellout.
Right.
The other two are looked at as a sellout because for any piece of money, they'll sell his hat, they'll sell his every piece of writing, they'll sell everything and give it away for money. So
I'm just trying to figure out why she ain't behind ADOS. That's what I was just trying to figure out. Why they ain't behind ADOS.
Well, see, because they're different people. You see what I'm saying? That's a whole different section of mindset, and that's why sometimes we got to kind of expand some of how this thing gonna go. This ain't new. You know what I mean? I know we feel like it's new. I know we feel like it's new.
But
hear me out. Hear me out.
Go ahead, brother.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, make your point.
No, what I mean by it's not new. It's like we've actually had these movements before in our own community. Callie House, a lot of people don't even know her. She is the first ADOS ancestor right out of slavery. She started the petition movement to get slave payments from the slave masters while they was alive. She signed up 300,000 black people in Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. She was traveling around. That's when they first realized that these slaves was going to be a problem. Because when Callie House was doing what she was doing, and they had Booker T. Washington, they had other people who were more established, she was just like ADOS. She didn't have no money. She was just, the regular person going around trying to get these payments. And they had $400,000 that they stole from us in the Freedmen's Bank. They had $63 million that they had put up in a bank for us that we generated. That was our money. So these are specific amounts of money that was put up in their signatures of black slave ancestors on record. And they're probably our ancestors that wanted that money. Right. So this reparations thing ain't no joke. So, but it's been hidden, right? And see, so this ain't new. So they know our pattern, and we're doing the same thing. We're basically, if you read the history of Callie House, you will see, damn, we're doing the same thing because it's a pattern that we have. And so that's what I mean. Like, we got to understand, like, we can't let the same, way that they, kind of bury this. And that's kind of what they're doing. They're pitting one generation against another generation.
Right.
So we got to let some people do.
We cannot divide and we cannot.
You know what? Because they know we good. They know we good with distractions.
Right.
They know we the people of distractions.
Well, the reason why
focused on one thing.
ADOS
people would do this. They did that in India, though.
True, but this is the one thing that's unique to black people.
We talking about us. We ain't talking about Indians. Bro.
Okay, ADOS on ground on the boots.
But listen. Well, the reason why I mentioned that is because sometimes we want to dump on ourselves as if we are so much less than any other group. These tactics that they're using on us. Hear me out.
Hear the brother out.
That they're using on us, they have time tested this stuff, and that's all I'm saying. We ain't no different than nobody else. When we get our stuff together, we be just as good as anybody out here that you see.
Right, but
we very
especially wrong with us.
Let me
we very different. We the only ones. We the only ones who slaves in America.
All right, ADOS, boots on the ground.
We the only one got.
Brother, you're right. We're not, brother. All due respect to you, we're not arguing that question. That's an obvious question. We are the only people in this country who did not come over here with our clothes on our back, shoes on our feet like other groups did. We built this place before other groups got here, and then they reaped some benefit off of our coattails. You're absolutely right. But this is one of the things, this is where I disagree just a little bit. This is one of the problems that Black people do have. And a little bit of it is displayed today. We are, which makes us unique in some ways, we are a emotional people. We are driven emotionally. That's why preachers can bamboozle us, the ones that are not for us. That's why we can be bamboozled by people that's claiming that they're going to build something for us, because we are so conditioned to that preacher's cadence, to that emotional chord. If we can somehow figure out, as men particularly, and women, especially men, because we're supposed to be the ones that think with logic and not all this emotional stuff. We've got to learn how to control our emotions and focus on the on the task at hand. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
I was trained in retail sales, and I wanted to just give you a business, case scenario perspective.
Go ahead.
When we're trying to sell something to a people, because without the consumers, we don't eat. Mm-hmm. They put food on our plate. Like without the hospital, like without the patients, we don't eat. Those patients, whether they're coming in buying that service from us or it's from Medi-Cal, is still being paid for, and we must treat them and give them the utmost service because it's still being paid for.
Right.
And so, with that being said, because retail sales is the selling of a product or a service, and the customer is always right. Now, there's some times where they're denied their right, and they have to take the initiative to write a report, go up the chain of command and fight for that, And as far as emotion, back to the store, like if someone walks into our store, we might have that light brighter, we might have that music playing fast, and then we'll have, which is subliminal. But I was trained this, okay? So I know how to do store displays. I know how to build a store from ground up with no money, nothing. Because I was trained in it.
Okay.
And I was 19 and I graduated, took the test, and got my certificate and everything.
Okay.
Now, and as far as emotion, they're called impulse buyers. You see what I'm saying? We might put some impulse items at the register, like bubble gum, candy.
Yes.
They do that. They do that. Black people don't buy like the product. They buy, off their emotions. Like, why do I really want this car? So, over, this 2,000 something at the auction, this little limit. Why do I want this $35,000 car? I bought it based off my emotions. Both of them do, the exact same thing. And it's you know what I'm saying? So yes, we are emotional people.
And it's to our, it can be to our downfall if we do not keep our emotions in check. For example, all this back and forth that's going on right now on social media with Tariq, Jason Black, all this stuff, and people going back and forth with each other, doxing each other, that's all emotions. And the thing that's funny about it, let me just say this, brother, I got to say this. The reason why it's ridiculous is because we're fighting each other when instead of fighting our true enemy, and those that are really against us fundamentally in this country and are laughing and setting back and enjoying and popping the popcorn at the buffoonery that's going on, and we're not learning from the past. Reparations is due us. We've got to stay focused. I'm going to keep it 100% real with you. I think Tone Talks and Yvette Cornell, they need to focus on the movement and stop going back and forth with Tariq, Jason Black, and all these other people. Okay. Stay focused on the movement. Focus on that. They're supposed to be the intellectuals. They need to focus on the intellectual and let the boots on the ground, like ADOS boots on the ground, let them do the groundwork and push the message that the brother's talking about passionately today. And that's what we need to be focusing on. Not this battle on social media. That's a waste of time and a distraction. Period, brother.
I don't think it's emotion. I think some are more passionate than others.
Sir, look, Black people, we are emotional people. And that's why we were able to that's why we've been bamboozled by preachers. Look, you're talking to a guy who lived in the Fillmore area of San Francisco, and guess who?
You're passionate, right? You passionate about it, right?
I understand that, but you can be passionate, but you have to know when to temper your emotions and not let yourself be led down the wrong path. I'll give you a perfect example of this. It was the emotions and the passion, but the emotions of Black people and their belief in religion that allowed them to be led by a white man named Jim Jones. I know this personally because I've got people that I knew who lost their family. When I was a kid growing up, I could literally walk past the church after they condemned that church and got rid of him. He killed himself. So Black people in the Fillmore area were led by a white man who was pushing religion, and they got caught up in their emotions of this white man who was charismatic that led them to their death when he took them out of the country because they were being led by the emotions of religious belief, but they were following a false prophet. That's why we have to keep our emotions in check, because it can cause us to do the wrong things, make wrong decisions. We have to think logically, respond, not react. Go ahead.
You couldn't get one man to walk away from Jim Jones. You know why? Because he was passionate about what Jim Jones was doing and what they had going on. He was passionate about it.
And passion comes out of your emotions, brother. That's why we have to temper our emotions. And as men, particularly, we got to use logic too, because the emotions will allow us to go down it'll put us into a roller coaster that can sometimes put us in the wrong place. We have to use logic. That's why I said Yvette and Tone Talks need to focus on what the goal is. Don't get emotional over what this guy is saying over here who may not even show his face, or that guy is saying over here. Don't worry about those people. Worry about what your goals and strategies are. If politics and economic power combined is going to get us to where we need to be, focus on that. Not to look, brother, on my phone right now, I see the Twitter all day long between all of them. And I'm telling you, it's a distraction. Focus on the task at hand.
Yeah.
That's my only criticism.
That's true.
My only criticism.
That's true.
Okay. Now, because I don't want this program to get shut off without me and being in control of it, we're getting close to. I'm gonna have to put a crescendo on this program because I'm hitting that 3-hour mark.
Family, it was good, man.
But I want everybody, before you leave, give your last words quickly. Your last words, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say my last thing real quick. It's Super Mike 2164.
Super Mike, yes.
Go ahead,
love you,
subscribe
Super
to my
Mike.
little channel.
Yes, sir.
And I do got a little story on there about Callie House, who we all should know about.
Okay.
And we should look at that history. It's really good.
I'm gonna check out your channel. I'll subscribe too, brother.
Yeah, just
do me a favor. Put something in the Super Mike. Do me a favor. I hate to cut you off like this. Sir. Put something in the chat room so I can automatically click on your avatar to get to your channel and subscribe. And everybody subscribe to Super Mike as well. Okay. Go ahead. For the sake of time, go ahead.
All right. No, I was just saying that, I'm just building up the little channel, trying to put something on it. So, I think we're doing good. I mean, I don't get too bent out of shape because people arguing in different. I mean, I understand we got to deal with it, but, I don't like get angry or hatred at people too much. Like you said, temper your emotion. I mean, we're going to have emotion, but we got to still kind of think,
Right.
We got to try to logically try to put boxes in the row with, so that way this movement can go and we can all end up, kind of benefiting.
Right. We can have emotions. We can be passionate, but don't allow our emotions to work against us by being distracted by what other people are saying. We know what our focus is. Let's stay on it. Okay. ADOS, boots on the ground, brother. Last thoughts.
Hey, man. We like America, man. When you mess with America, what they do? They put you on the news. They talk about you. They tell you what they go come do. Don't mess with ADOS.
Right.
They go come for you.
Right on. Right on.
Blast. We're going to treat you. We're going to show you what's popping.
Okay.
Don't play with us.
Okay, brother.
Play.
All right.
Like America. We're America born. We're America to the bone.
Okay. All right, brother. Okay, to the sister that's still on, any last words that you'd like to leave with us?
Yes, my focus with the reparations is the freedom that the money allows us. You know, I've had relatives where they signed elders. Now, they didn't know how to read, sign contracts, and got their land took. I know people who got their homes took and been put in jail. So I wanted to end with this last quote by MLK: freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. So keep up the fight and keep speaking about it, and let's just keep on passing on the torch and the blueprint. And I love all of my brethren and my sisters. So
all right, well, let me say this: you left us with a great closing statement. And remember, all of you,
and we love you too, sir.
Thank you, brother. Check this out. I'm going to be really doing a lot more programs like this. So you're all welcome anytime to call in, chime in, as passionate as you like about various issues that I'm going to be bringing up soon. And brother Super Mike, email me. I put my email out there. It's coldwave06@gmail.com, brother, because I need you on board when I do the program about Detroit and the housing situation that has happened there. I got to redo that video again. So I'm going to need your help with your on the ground experience living there. So everybody, thank you for being here. I'm closing out the talk line right now. Let me close out right now and say to everybody in the chat room, we got Super Mike who's come in with the super chat. Let me give him some love for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. He says, hey guys, check out my channel. Everybody check out this brother's channel right now because he's got he's got some good things going on over there. This is a brother he's going to be building this channel up and getting it to where he wants it to go. And matter of fact, I'm already subscribed to your channel, Super Mike. Yeah, I'm already subscribed, brother. So everybody give that brother some support. Let me put his link in the chat room right now. And y'all go over there and give a brother some love. Matter of fact, everybody in the chat room that's got channels, give each other love. Let me say peace to Earl Owens for coming through, brother. Watch the repeat of this program if you can. Thank you, Brenda Johnson. This sister right here, I can't pronounce that name, so I'm gonna give you love by saying peace to you by highlighting your name. Okay, thank you for coming through. We got Cassandra Cheeks that came through. We got Jackson, Black Man was in the house. We got Fly C Soldier came in. Thank you again. We got Jackson that's in the house. So many people have come through that I really appreciate your support today. So thank you for coming through. And let me leave you with some last quotes of Dr. King right now. As passionate as that brother is.
Others can do what they want to do. That's their business. Other civil rights leaders, for various reasons, refuse or can't take a stand or have to go along with the administration. That's their business. But I must say tonight that I know that justice is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The world now demands a maturity of America that we may not be able to achieve. It demands that we admit that we have been wrong from the beginning of our adventure in Vietnam, that we have been detrimental to the life of the Vietnamese people. The situation is one in which we must be ready to turn sharply from our present ways. The New Testament says, repent. It is time for America to repent now, for the kingdom of God is at hand. That God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you're too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Okay, everybody.
Tell the truth.
I want to thank everybody for being here today and being a part of my tribute and my presentation to Dr. King. I want to thank everyone that called in today. It was a great program. I want to thank Dr. Cornel West, my frat brother, who spoke with William Leon on Urban View about the radical activism of Dr. King. I want to thank Dr. King, who would have been 91 years old today if he was alive. I want to thank him for the things that he did to lead our people as best as he could for the time that he lived in. I want to thank him for being here. The world is a better place because of Dr. King. I know we all have our various individuals that we like, a Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, any of the great leaders. We all have our opinions about King and what was right, what was wrong. We all can have our opinions, but one thing that remains the same is that all of the great leaders, women and men, their goal in mind, what is best for Black people, their goal was to make life better for us today. Okay? At the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. I want everybody to do me the greatest favor that you can do me is to share this in your personal social media, share it with your friends, family, loved ones, the whole 9 yards. Let's push this through. I want to thank the Periscope family. Those of you out there that listen to me on Periscope, thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody out there in Facebook that was listening to the program today. We got a little controversial here and there, but you know what? Through dialogue, through conversation, this is how we learn, this is how we grow, and this is how we get to solutions. So I want to thank everybody in Facebook, everybody out there in Spreaker who was listening to me live. And everybody in the chat room. Bender Johnson has been so incredible. We got Hustle, the trucker, who came through. He said, sorry, I had to jump off. Time to put on the family. Hey, I get it, brother. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Skies took my drone. Thank you for being here as well. Everybody in the chat room, believe me, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule on a Monday, King Day, to listen to Information Man Show, listen to the clips that I played, listen to everybody that was on the platform talking. I appreciate you. And with that said, I got to put a crescendo on it and I got to go. Make sure that you check out my second channel, which is Information Man Speaks Podcast. Subscribe to that second channel because I'm going to be dropping 2 to 3 videos, podcast radio style over there during the week. I've got a juicy one on Joe Biden that you're going to like. I got all over Joe Biden. And I got one about voter suppression that you're going to like too when I release those particular podcasts over there. So with that said, everybody, peace, love you. Have a great, don't work hard, work better. Work better, don't work hard, work better, because we're getting ready to go into another work week. Do things better, be a better person. Think about what you can do the next day that you didn't do yesterday. And with that said, peace, everybody. Thank you for coming out.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Tell the truth.
Peace, everybody. Thank you.